Hey everyone, Anthony with Tornado Tech Podcast. So we're back, second week after the shutdown we had for a little bit. We're going to talk everything about WrestleMania. We have myself, Bryan, Tyler, and then Blue and Gold with Andy and Matt joining us again. We're going to go over our pro wrestling scorecards, see how we did, announce our winner, and then we're going to cover Raw, NXT, and AEW. We are not going to do a topic this week, but we are going to bring that back next week. So if you're excited for the topic, it will be back next week. Brian's doing a 3-parter next week. We'll talk about towards the end of the show. So hope you enjoy it. Hope you're into this week, and thank you once again for supporting us. You can go over and check out our merch page over at Teespring on our Facebook page. You can get some merch. It's all on there. And thank you for the support. Go over and follow us on Facebook as well at Tornado Tag Podcast, as well as finding us on any YouTube, or as well as any, if you want audio only, on Spotify, iTunes, or anywhere you could find music or podcasts. Just search IWEP Network. That's IWEP Network. All right, we'll see you guys on the other side. Here's some no rain checks.
You've got desire, you've got the look in your eyes. You're on a mission, burning ambition. You've got your eyes on the prize. You've got to rise to the challenge. Show 'em what you've got. Step up and take what's yours. You are kings now, Clash of Titans.
Hey everyone, Anthony with Tornado Tech Podcast. We're here. Wow, it's been a sorry, I'm still like in a fog here. This staying at home thing is killing me. So a lot we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Mania, our weekend, our predictions, and we'll go into what happened on the Raw after Mania, and then we'll get into this week on NXT and AEW, and then we'll talk a little bit later. Bryan has a topic for us, so we're going to bring our topic back. I'm really excited about it because I don't really know much about it, but Bryan will get into that in a minute. So what are you guys up to?
Staying home.
So tonight in the phone we got Tyler.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Nice
hearing from you again.
We got Blue and Gold again. Matt and Andy.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
And then we got Bryan.
Bryan left right now.
Bryan no sold me.
Yeah, he's asleep. Yeah.
Are you there, Bryan?
Oh, no, you didn't hear me? Yes, I said I'm Bryan. That's
okay.
Me.
Yeah, just bear with us again. We are still doing this over the phone, so we may have some technical difficulty here and there, but it is what it is. We're trying our best to get through it, to get it through and stuff. So we'll jump right in here to Mania. What were your guys' initial overall views of Mania before, and without getting into matches?
I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I enjoyed day one. I feel like a little bit more than day two, but overall, I thought it was like a C+. I didn't hate it. That's for sure.
Yeah, same.
I think,
go ahead.
You have to hold this one different than I don't think it's fair to compare this one to all the other ones.
No, not at
just
all.
Because of the circumstances. So I think in history it'll be WrestleMania, 36, right? Yep. It'll be like asterisks. So I don't know. I just consider it something separate, the Final Fantasy game, the one that's online. I don't consider that with the rest of the games. So
yeah.
It's like that.
I would definitely. I would put it in there with the rest of the WrestleManias, but to take the show and do 2 days, I definitely enjoyed that. I'd rather watch 2 days worth of content than cram it into a 8-hour show. I much rather do that. So if that's something they're thinking about doing more, I would be more open to that. There's things on the show I think we're going to talk about that wouldn't work in a full arena setting, but I think with the circumstances we got what we had. I really enjoyed it. I don't know. It was something I didn't expect, and I thought they pulled it off pretty well. There is some things I didn't like, but we'll get into that as well. So yeah, this is the first WrestleMania with zero crowd, broken up into 2 days. We'll jump right into it here, Brian. What you want to open up the day one first match?
Sure. Well, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt. Go
ahead. I got cut off there. I got to make my comeback now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Fire up, brother. No, I pretty much agree with Heather. First of all, kudos to WWE for putting on the show. I mean, I know Vince got a lot of shit and a lot of flack for putting on the show, but we got, counting the pre-shows, 6.5, 7 hours of entertainment when nobody else is doing anything. I mean, you put on ESPN, the NBA Network, NFL Network, they're all showing stuff that happened, a few years ago. So, yeah. I mean, you gave us new content. But I kind of agree with Heather. You kind of got to put an asterisk to it. But I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I thought it was a good show, and I thought there was some really good matches that really stood out.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely matches that stood out. There's stuff that it's going to be talked about for a long time, maybe good and bad.
Yeah, and for me, I do not like the empty arena. I understand, but it's so jarring. I can't watch most of it. I only watched parts of it. I know what happened to the whole thing, but. Man, when you hear them breathing and then you hear them wiping their boots, I just can't stand it. I've been at training matches where there's more noise. At least AEW, there's some noise because there's people around the ring. But, yeah. Man, especially versus Drew versus Brock, I'm like, this is so weird. This is, uncomfortable. It just felt jarring. I could not get into it one bit.
Yeah, there's too much groaning. There's too much groaning and noise when there's no crowd. You can hear them you have to turn it down so your neighbors don't think you're watching porn.
Yeah, especially when
the girls wrestle.
Yeah, there are girls. There is certain people that when they're in the ring, I do enjoy it because I think the banter between them is hilarious. And there are some people who I'm like, oh my god, I can't stand hearing you. The pre-show match, Natty and Liv, I can't stand listening to Natty. Are you ready? Are you ready, Natty? Are you ready, Liv? Are you ready? Come on, guys! I'm just I can't stand listening to her. But then you have Asuka in the ring who just screams in Japanese the whole time, and it's super entertaining to me. And the ref's let go over here. I know. So it depends on who's in the ring. I think it's very entertaining with some, and then some it just falls flat.
Oh, Asuka's been a show stealer pretty much every time she's been out there in the empty arena stuff.
Yeah. She's just her banter is just it entertains me. But
you want to start running down the card here?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so night one pre-show, you had Cesaro defeat Drew Gulag. Short match, but they did what they could with the time. Yeah, I thought.
I actually didn't see this pre-show match.
I thought it was excellent. I thought they maximized every second they had out there.
Mm-hmm.
And Cesaro won with the old UFO.
Yeah, the airplane spin that I took one time. I just won't put that in
there. Make that two of us.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I think this little stable they got going on is fantastic. There's rumors they're going to add a third member to Daniel Bryan Gulag's side.
Okay.
And the rumor is going to be another guy that Daniel Bryan thinks isn't getting enough airtime because they want to keep doing this rivalry between these three guys, which
Daniel Bryan's right, by the way.
Which I don't mind watching them at all.
Shorty G, maybe, possibly.
That's been the rumor.
Yeah. I'd watch those matches all day. In any variation, I'd watch those matches all day long.
I mean, long as they bring Chad Gable back, because Shorty G, the gimmick does not work with serious Daniel Bryan and serious Drew Gulak.
Yeah, and plus, it got him nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're telling me that we get a long-term feud of Chad Gable, Bryan, and Gulak versus Nakamura, Cesaro, and Zayn, that's all I've ever wanted.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Absolutely.
And if you put Gulak and Gable together as a tag team, that could be a plug-in for the Revival right there. They have every bit of and then some of the expertise to bring people down and have that mat-based, high-intensity kind of delivery that the Revival did.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then what was our next one here?
Well, then you had that weird opening where they kept stopping it and had the voiceover guy, and then you had a nice little thing with the America the Beautiful where they just spliced together a lot of the old ones.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Rockin' Robin. She never showed up, unfortunately. And then your opener was, for the women's tag team title, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeating the... Oh no, my echo just linked up because I said the A word. It was Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross against the Kabuki Warriors, and Bliss and Cross win the tag titles, regain the tag titles, I should say.
Yeah, that was a fun match. On our card, there was a stipulation: does Alexa Bliss wear Disney gear? And I got it. She was wearing the backup dancer's gear from the Goofy movie for what the hell is that character's name?
Oh my God, I would never
That's a deep cut.
Yeah,
that's a deep cut.
What the hell is that? Who's the singer in that movie?
Like Wildline or something? I forget what it's called.
Yeah, Powerline.
Powerline, that's it. Yeah.
That
Wildline is when
sounds
they
like
have to re-record things.
a lame Flash villain.
Yeah, that was the gear she was wearing. I didn't know it at first, and then I seen it on Twitter. Yeah, I enjoyed the match. Them winning the titles again. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Unless they start working with the tag team titles, hopefully. The only thing tag team titles are just waiting for, is I think they're just waiting for the Bellas to have their kids and recover a bit. But I think they're coming back.
No, yeah, they're done.
Yeah.
I think they're done.
I don't believe
Nikki
it.
can't wrestle because of her. She has a fucking thing in her head.
Her neck.
Yeah, her neck.
The moment for that was going to be last year. That's why they put them on the Iconics, but then they just never wrestled.
Yeah. I didn't mind the
What happened to
Iconics
them?
having
They
it.
still
If
never
they just,
wrestled.
I think they're punishing what's her name because her husband's in AEW.
I agree.
That's what they do.
I could.
Which one? I forget their name. Billy and what's their name?
Billy Kay and Peyton Royce.
Peyton Royce, yes. Peyton Royce, yes.
I like them. I thought they were a fun tag team, especially when they played the chicken shit heels and they go out and beat up jobbers the whole time. I thought they were entertaining.
Yeah, not the best in the ring, but yeah, they were very entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, personality-wise, they were amazing, but yeah, Billy Kay especially a little bit in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we didn't bring up the cards. I finished in first place, so I'm the champion once again.
Yeah.
But I went 2 for 2 that weekend. I won a whole nother poll, like a whole nother voting thing. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
Here's the funny part about those cards is actually, let me pull my card up as we're doing this. I completely tanked like 2 matches where I had 0 points and still end up finding a way to finish 7th. But there's some matches where there's a lot of matches where I only missed the full card by like one thing. Like, so for like certain matches, there was one thing I just missed it by 1 point, like one of the categories I missed, and there was a few matches where I pretty much nailed it, like the Aleister Black Bobby Lashley. I perfect that card, and I even had the finishers down to a T, which gave me the double points. So like, there's some cards where
Nice.
like some points where I dominated, but like the triple threat ladder match I bombed, and the women's NXT championship I left with 0 points. The Fatal 5 I only left with 3. So there's some matches I completely tanked, and there's some matches I smoked it. Like it was out of control.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is pro wrestling scorecards.
Yeah. So this is
everyone knows
the
what
pro
we're
wrestling
talking about.
scorecards. Yeah. We
The
talked
thing
about
that
it
was my saving
last
grace
episode.
is I went 16 for 18 overall, like without the pre-shows, I don't think. Or did the pre-shows, were they on there?
They weren't on the scorecard, no.
Okay,
No.
yeah, okay.
And I believe still they are, unless it's completely full. If you head over to the website, they took up 1,000. They took up to 1,000 people that you could play the digital. It may be full, it may not. Just keep an eye on it for next pay-per-view. So you can jump in and play.
The next pay-per-view, that's the problem. Like,
Yeah, we
when
don't.
will we have another one?
Yeah,
Are they going to do Money in the Bank at an empty arena too, or are they just going to wait?
I don't
I think
know.
they're gonna wait. I heard they're waiting.
Yeah, I would wait. Because that ladder match,
I would,
it
too.
definitely goes by your people in the ring. So
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think
I
they
do
said that
like
you're
the way-
taping for like 4 weeks or something now.
Like 3 weeks. Yeah, they're going to.
Yeah.
I think they're doing SmackDown live on Friday, but they're also taping 2 or 3 more, and then same thing with Raw, same thing with NXT.
yeah. So this women's tag for me, I got every single thing right. The pin, who took the pin, Disney gear. The only thing I did not get right was aerial moves. So this match, I scored 17 points for. So like I said, this is one of those matches where I did really, really, really well. So, but some of the matches I just completely tanked, so it kind of ruined me. But yeah. So what was our? Anyone else want to add anything to this match? What they liked, they don't like?
I thought it was good, but I thought it was a little bit too long. It just felt like, because with no crowd on there was like a double heat, and I'm like, it really doesn't work. The double heat doesn't work at all with no crowd, because it's really, the whole purpose of getting heat or a double heat is to make the hot tag for the big pop, and there was no. For me, they probably could have shaved off 4 or 5 minutes and just did like one small heat, and maybe did like a longer finish segment. Because like I said, the whole thing for the hot tag is you're building the emotion to make that tag for the crowd to pop. And when there's no crowd, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
One of the things I did like is I talked about before how I want them to, if they're going to make Alexa Bliss full babyface and she's going to completely get away from that heel thing, she needs to change something. And I think her coming out and being extra goofy and kind of dancing around and just kind of having more fun with it in the ring, I definitely think for me as a fan is taking her character for me to another level. Because I guess kind of watching Total Divas a little bit with my wife, we talked about last episode, you could definitely see she's not the same person she looks like, where she likes this queen and she thinks she's a goddess. Like, she has a lot of self-doubt in herself with certain things, and she's been through some things. She's more of a person that way. And she did a great podcast with Lillian Garcia. So I think her just kind of coming out of her shell and being a little goofier, I think is awesome for her as a babyface.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Next match here, Brian.
Speaking of tanking in the scorecards, I did on this one. Elias defeats King Corbin.
I smashed this one.
I did not expect Elias to get the win there, and he did.
Yeah, I said I think they're going to put him over as a big baby face, and I think they're going to try to give him another revival here. The only thing I didn't get right was the performance. Everything else I hit right on the nail on the head.
I didn't think Elias was half bad in this match.
No, dude, he's an older school. I don't think Corbin's bad in the ring either. Maybe they thought they worked very well together. It wasn't a flippy, flashy match, but I thought it was an older school style match. I thought I don't know. I just liked the dude, and it maybe because you pointed out in the match too. He literally looks like a reincarnation of Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, I've always thought that.
Yeah.
Ever since he was in NXT, I wanted him to be in the Randy Savage biopic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you see the WrestleMania finish they did. They did the WrestleMania 8 finish with Savage holding the trunks when he did it to Flair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that was this finish here.
Yeah. He has a great elbow drop. He has a really good looking elbow drop.
Macho Man? Yeah, he'll get over it.
Yeah, great, yeah.
No, I'm saying Elias has
That
a
kid
really
will get
good looking
over it.
elbow drop.
Oh, okay.
That's about it.
I mean, it's no Kyrie Zane, but it's all right.
Well, no.
Yeah.
No.
Or Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
But this is a match I think would have died a death in a live crowd, though.
Yeah, this match might have been the only one in the crowd that benefited from not having the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this one did much better because I don't know. I think Elias would have got a little bit of chairs, but maybe if they had a crowd, this probably would have been like after Randy Orton versus Edge to have the crowd come down a little bit.
Yeah.
The popcorn match, as they say.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it. But I definitely agree with what you're saying there as well. What do we got next, Brian?
This next one, I think, came as a surprise to a lot of people. Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's title over Sheena Basler.
I thought the match was good. I don't understand, and I don't really like the finish, but who am I?
Yeah.
I would say I'm just gonna say Vince was like, I don't get it. That's what.
Unless they're doing
WrestleMania
this
8 finish.
Yeah, unless they're doing this thing.
The Piper Hart finish.
It's also been the same finish that every single time that they find a way to make what's her name lose. It's almost the exact same way every time, where someone just leans back on the choke because she doesn't put she doesn't put the body triangle on, and they just pin her shoulders down. Which, I mean, if you're an NXT fan,
her shoulders weren't even on the freaking mat correctly.
Yeah.
Her shoulder was up.
Yep.
So back-to-back years, Becky won a title and when the opponent's shoulder wasn't even on the ground.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then Ronda and Shayna, so there's a story there, but they'll probably never go into it.
I don't know.
Matt, you had something to say there?
No, I was just saying that it's funny because like they did back-to-back matches where they did WrestleMania 8 finishers, where like in by far the two best matches, Savage and Flair, and this one was the Piper Bret Hart finish. But yeah, it seems she used the flash pin, so I think maybe they'll do like a submissions match where Shayna will win. I think this match was really good, but this was, and we'll get to it in a few minutes here, it was very much like the Daniel Bryan Sami Zayn match. Just as it started to like get to that fourth gear, it finished, and I was like,
yep.
I thought that they could have added a little more. I thought if they would have shaved 4 or 5 minutes off the tag match. I mean, not even that the show ran long because they all got done in a decent time.
Yeah.
But like if they were timing that show out, I would have taken off like 4 or 5 minutes of the tag match and gave it to this match and the Intercontinental title match. Because it seems like just when it was getting going, they went to the finish, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
See, what they should have done in one of the other matches, they should have had Papa Shango running late for a DQ. They could have kept it going.
Harvey Whippleman. I agree.
Yeah, I don't listen. I'm going to trust their judgment how they're going to book this, but I don't get it.
I would never trust their judgment.
Yeah, I would never trust that.
Yeah. Even if you have Shayna Baszler win there and then Becky chases and gets her back at SummerSlam, I don't see the point. Maybe I think because they wanted Becky to have the title for a full year, so they waited till they're waiting until maybe the next time they hook up, that it's going to be a loss, because I guess her coming to Monday Night Raw was a full calendar year she was champion.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. But I mean, there's definitely the way the finish was. The feud's definitely not over, which I definitely want to see more of it, because that match did leave you wanting more. It had a really good build up. Like I said, the match was really good. It just seemed like once they were starting to get to the false finishes, and they went, no false finishes. We're just going to take it home.
Yeah. So does this? So I guess officially we have Shayna Baszler up on Raw now. So I guess she's officially a Raw superstar. To be determined with something else with there, because another questionable decision, but we'll talk about it later on when it comes to a move up. But the Raw Women's division is looking very interesting, I guess we can say, when it comes to contenders. But once you have a Shayna Baszler in the runnings there, it's tough to say who's going to be a front runner when she's there, because she's obviously going to be the main draw. Our next match, Brian.
And Matt kind of brought this up earlier. Intercontinental title, Sami Zayn defeats Daniel Bryan to retain. And just to piggyback on what he was saying, I think this was like 10, 15 minutes of a really great 25-minute match, and then just kind of cut it off.
Yeah. I had one issue with it watching. I was talking about in the group chat. I understand why they did it. And because he's very, very, very good at it, and it's super entertaining, is Sami playing the chicken shit heel. But I would have really loved to seen him just kind of let it go, and him and Daniel Bryan just kind of go at it and really showcase showcase what Sami Zayn can do between the ropes, instead of just trying to run away the whole time. I know that's a slow.
Everybody else.
I know it's going to be a slow build of just Sami Zayn kind of just running away the whole time, and then they'll probably do some kind of like a lumberjack or some type of match where he can't run away, or I don't know what they're going to do. But that was the only thing that bothered me, is I wanted them to really showcase Sami Zayn instead of him just running around like a clown. One thing I do like with Sami Zayn right now is he's letting his hair grow out, and it looks ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And with the Fidel Castro look, I don't know what's going on with that either.
Yeah, to me, this was the most disappointing match WrestleMania. Both
nights. I agree 100%.
I just had so much expectations for it, and then it went 9 minutes and 18 seconds, I believe. Like, that's crazy. You only give those guys 9 minutes. That's just ridiculous.
And 7 of those minutes was Sami Zayn doing everything he can not to be in a match.
Yeah, it's like,
yes, exactly. That's 100%. It's like, come on, man. You couldn't take, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes off that boring Edge and that Orton and Edge match and give it to them. Like, come on.
Yeah, that was the only thing that bothered me, is that just you have two superstars who could have really put a showcase on, and we got what we got.
Yeah, they weren't allowed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, were they not allowed, or you think maybe some of this was like a stick it to Vince, because more than half the roster, from what I heard, was upset they had to be there, and maybe the two of them were just like, screw this, we're just going to go out there, waste time, and then go to the finish.
I mean, maybe, but I'm sure when they timed it all out, they probably said, "Oh, you guys got 10 minutes."
Yeah, I think it was more an office call. They're like, "We don't have that much time, guys. We got to rush everybody on the card. So just go out there, do your shit, and head home."
Yeah. But this night ended early. This night ended around like 10 o'clock. They could have just put 10 minutes on this match and not cut anything.
Yeah. And it wasn't live, and they could have, they recorded it all and then edited it before, so they could have, I don't know.
That was another thing too I wanted to bring up, is that the way it was edited was done very. We're going into our pre-show when we talked about it last week. I was really concerned if they were going to edit it and it was going to look like it wasn't a thing that day, but it didn't seem that way at all. It all seemed like it was very seamless, like if it was a legit show.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, those video packages give you a really easy place to cut. So I think that's part of it there.
Mm-hmm.
One saving grace I thought in this match, though, is I could watch Daniel Bryan's offense all day, every day. It's so good.
It's so believable.
Yeah,
so
he's fantastic. What was our next one here for night one?
The next one was a ladder match, singles match for the tag titles. John Morrison defeats Kofi Kingston and Jimmy Uso to keep the tag titles.
Singles match for the tag titles. That just sounds ridiculous.
Their hand got forced, but The Miz was sick.
Yeah. Very, very interesting ladder match. I do like how they pointed out that this ladder match probably had the three most athletic dudes in the last generation in it, which was completely true. It could have been a lot better, obviously, if they would have been in front of a full crowd, because I think a lot of the stuff they did would have popped really heavily. I didn't hate it, but it kind of did fall a little flat for me. But I really love the finish here.
I thought this match was great. I know we posed the question last week, why is John Morrison, why do they sign him? Watch this match. I think out of all the two cards, if you want to talk about stocks going up, his stock went up the second most.
100%. I'm a huge Morrison fan.
He came up. I mean, all three of these guys busted there. I mean, they were taking bumps in front of no people.
Yep.
I mean, and Andy Header, in order for you to do some of the crazy shit that we do, you need that adrenaline rush that you're going to get from the crowd, or that pop you're going to get from the crowd. And these guys were doing some crazy stuff. Nothing was out of place. Everything was well timed, and that finish was awesome. You see, they do. The ladder match is so overdone that it's just what can we possibly see? And that finish was something completely new that we never seen before.
What do you got going on in your background there? Are you in a laundry room?
Not me. No, I'm literally in my daughter's art room by myself.
Oh, I hear this weird. You guys hear that?
I think that's coming from Tyler. His thing is there's a little blue circle. It keeps expanding. It went away.
Does it sound like something like a washing machine going, or like a printer printing something out?
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah.
I'm sitting down.
I thought somebody was on an exercise bike or something.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's like an exercise bike.
It's definitely not me.
I'm going to 2K20, but I have my volume turned down.
I'm not. Whatever it was, it went away.
I don't hear it.
Whatever it was, it's gone now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Morrison. I mean, when they said they were going to bring him in, it excited me. He's definitely somebody I'm very, very. I enjoy a lot wherever he's at. He's someone that can get me to follow and go watch him in another promotion. He's always been that guy for me. If a guy leaves leaves WWE, I mean, like I said, growing up, I was a guy who was a true WWE guy. People would leave, and I'm like, F it, they left. I'm still staying with WWE. Morrison's probably the first guy where he left, and I was like, I'm gonna go check out where he's going, what he's doing somewhere else. He was the first guy that really made me cross over to other shows like Lucha Underground and Impact and stuff like that.
Survivor.
Yeah. Survivor. Yeah, Survivor was a huge one for me. No. Yeah.
My only complaint of the match still is that I wish they would have let Bobby Lashley and Jey Uso stay in the match. And I know people are like, well, that's not realistic. How is John Morrison going to win? It's like, dude, he's a heel. A heel can find a way.
Yeah.
The other four guys could have took each other out, and he could have just got the title.
So you're saying keep it as a title, but he had to go win it by himself?
By himself, yeah. Because why? I mean, listen, Kane beat 6 guys by himself in a TLC match. It's not that's believable.
Yeah.
You mean Big E, not Bobby Lashley?
Big E, yeah. You said Bobby Lashley. Kind of scared me, yeah.
I
know what he meant, though.
I would have just said Miz got attacked. I would have had Miz get written off or whatever, and I would just had the match go on as, booked.
Yeah, because that way everyone would be like, oh, there's no way he can win this one.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then he comes out as a baby face.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, kind of.
Maybe not with that finish, because it was kind of a slip on the banana peel finish.
How so?
Yeah, but still, just it's like he beat 4 other guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Not really, though, because when they were holding it, he just he attached the belts and just fell with them.
Just fell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an outsmarting and more than a slip on a banana peel, yeah.
How do you do that finish with 2 other guys, though? You know what I mean? It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
The table outside.
I love that finish. I thought that was awesome.
Jay to the table.
Yeah. I thought it was an awesome finish. When he did it, I was like, "Oh, you clever bastard!" I thought I did not expect that. They're all holding. I was like, "How is this going to go down?" And then he just he gets hit and he just rips the straps off. And I laughed. I legit laughed when I seen it. I was like, "Good for him. That was a good finish."
Did you guys ever see the ladder match with Punk and Hero from IWA Mid-South? I think it was 02 or 03.
No.
I've seen it.
The ref gets bumped, and then Hero gets the belt. And then as he has the belt, he's trying to yell to the ref so the ref can see. Punk knocks the ladder over. Hero takes a bump into the table. Punk grabs the belt, and he wakes the ref up. And the ref sees that Punk has the belt, so he thinks that Punk Punk went and got it. And I'm dying for somebody to do that. Like a creepy heel and like do something like that. They kind of came close to the Ellsworth stuff, but I'm just waiting for somebody to do something like that. It's like the whole world saw it. How did the ref not see it? You know?
PPW had a good one with Orlando and Shankar where Orlando got the title, but when he pulled it off the thing, he dropped it, and when he dropped it, it's like he had Mike Orlando had the ladder on top of Shankar's chest, so he was like holding him down with the ladder, so he couldn't get up to interfere. And then Orlando rips his title off, and he was like showing it off, but he dropped it as he let it go, and it landed in Shankar's hands, so he's on the ground with it, so he wins the title because pretty much Orlando dropped it. I thought it was fun.
I think they did something similar to that at the first Sold Out with Eddie Guerrero and Six, where like Six grabbed the belt but it wound up with Guerrero somehow.
Yeah,
I gotta go back and watch that. I think that was the only match on that show that was worth it.
Yeah, it was the only one that was even remotely good.
No, I think I remember it opened with Jericho versus Shono, and I'm like, I gotta go back and watch because there's no way that match could have been bad.
Yeah,
I think it was just super short. I think it was one of those things.
Yeah, I think you're right.
awesome.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch Sold Out. We'll do it for a review.
Yeah, there we go.
Norton and BB.
Talk about the NWO coming in garbage trucks.
It could be a review / topic because we did have a topic one night where it was we covered what was it Halloween Havoc, and then
the history of the entire Halloween Havoc,
and then we did a show
Heatwave '98.
Heatwave '98.
We'll have to make Tony. We'll have to make Tony do the Miss NWO, and we'll just watch the wrestling part.
Yeah, I like all the stupid gimmicky stuff. All right, next match.
I don't know if you like this. The next match was, I thought, the best match on either night. It was Kevin Owens beating Seth Rollins.
Wow, what a finish here. This one didn't let me down. I kind of figured they were going to go out and do some good stuff, and I wasn't disappointed. Kevin Owens and Rollins tore it down.
That match was great. I love that match.
I got one wrong on this one. I got near falls, and I had the aerial moves down to a exact with 4, so I got double points here. So I ended up I did pretty well in this one.
That was a hell of a dive by Owens too, coming off that sign.
Yeah, yeah, that was awesome. That's exactly.
That was a great spot. That
was exactly what they needed. I truly hope Owens gets a push here. I want him to be this. Just a badass, like, I don't know. I like the guy a lot. And speaking of Owens, we talked about it in a previous show. I've been in the hunt for the Kevin Owens original NXT shirt for the longest time, the duct tape shirt, and I found it on eBay, and I think it was like $8 with free shipping. And it was in my size, and I got it, and it fits like a glove, and I love it so much. I ordered it the first time, and I got an extra large, and I guess I was just so excited that I ordered it and seen extra large. I didn't keep reading it and just hit buy now. It came in the mail, and it was a youth extra large. So
which is not even an adult small.
No. So I ended up giving that. I gave that to Alexis.
You had a Husky shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, well, it's a brand new shirt for you because I can't read and because I was too excited. This is my dream shirt. I hope you really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's happened to me before too. It's like, this is a child's size.
Yeah, and then I got the one of the Slam crates had an exclusive Ember Moon shirt where it's her and a bunch of wolves. It's a really cool artwork, and I got that one for like $6 too. So I was like, I'm ordering that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I thought it was an awesome shirt, but yeah.
Speaking of your point though about Kevin Owens, they actually had a promo on Raw this week where it seems like he's probably gonna go back to like being a prize fighter and stuff we talked about. So I think he is in line for a push.
Looking at it, and I know like we'll get. Well, I don't want to. I mean, if you haven't watched wrestling, and if you're banking on us to tell you if you to go watch it or not, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I think Owens can be a guy, and I think he's paid his dues, and he's someone who I think should get a title run soon. He got one, but he got it taken away from him. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think he should be a guy that needs he should get a title soon.
Yeah, definitely. And he's another guy. Like when his contract's up, like AEW is definitely gonna be trying to get him.
Oh, 100%.
I'm not saying he's gonna go, but like out of the couple guys that like they would really want, I would say he's at the top of the list. Him, Adam Cole.
Him and Adam Cole are got to be the top 2 guys in this company right now. That
yeah, even though Adam Cole's dead.
He's dead, yeah.
In AEW, yeah.
He'll
come back from it.
On the Being the Elite, they had where Matt Jackson's like, I've just been in my house playing my stand-up arcade. I got this from Adam before he died. He recommended this.
That's very funny. So I like that they're keeping that storyline alive that he is dead.
Yeah.
But then on the show, they did point out that Britt Baker was Adam Cole's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Widow.
They should have been like, who's that? He's dead.
I don't think Tony Schiavone knows that he's dead. Anyway.
I agree with you guys in this one. This was probably my second favorite match of the two nights. I thought it was, it was great. It was nonstop action. The psychology was there. And this is one where it didn't matter in front of a live crowd or in front of, no people. You can just tell these guys just know how to work with their surroundings. And I liked how they did the false finish with the DQ. And then they turned it, because then it gave it a reason to go to no DQ instead of like, now we're just going to throw the rules out in the middle of the match for no reason. It made sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
that pop though would have been crazy for that jump spot though. That's the only thing I wish the crowd was there for.
But that sign wouldn't have been there if it was a major crowd.
Yeah, that's true. But he would have jumped off something. He was talking about if WrestleMania would have took place at Tampa Bay, he wanted to jump off that giant fucking ship, which would have been nuts.
Yeah. I think this is the perfect example of when. I mean, they were able to take liberties with this no crowd by doing, predetermined stuff like the Boneyard match. But I think this is the one where they're going to talk about as well as the ladder match where they use the arena and Kevin Owens used what was in front of him to make it work without, using camera tricks. You know what I mean? Like he went out and took a legit huge bump, like a huge risk there.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah. All right. Our next one, Brian.
After this, we had a little bit of an interlude where Mojo Raleigh wins the 24/7 title from R-Truth.
It was entertaining. But,
Next.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, if R-Truth's not
Mojo.
if R-Truth's not the 24/7 champ, I don't care.
Yeah, he's so entertaining. I wish they would just elevate him a little bit. I'm not saying get him the world title, but make him like where he actually wins some matches that matter.
Yeah, he was awesome as U.S. champion.
Yeah, and he can still wrestle, and he looks great. I mean, the guy doesn't age.
How is he not getting a show on Netflix when the big show is?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll watch anything with R-Truth on it.
Like, I remember, like, years and years and years ago, they were talking about doing a show with Santino, Beth Phoenix, and Kozlov. They should do one with R-Truth. It would be great.
Yeah.
He's fucking hilarious. All right, yeah, after that little skit, what was the next thing we had?
Another little skit. Braun Strowman defeats Goldberg to win the Universal title.
Well, that was that was night one, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Oh my God.
We had finisher matches in both shows. I'm so tired of these finisher matches. I don't like them. I guess I don't know. It's good if this is what you like. Have a Goldberg match. It's the best you're gonna get. I didn't care for it.
I
thought the Brock Goldberg one at 34 was okay, and then from there I'm like, yeah, and that's enough of that.
33, but yeah.
33, yeah.
No, yeah. I hate it. Every single time he steps in between the ropes and that's what we get for a match. I just don't understand how you could be a fan of him. I just don't understand it.
What was brought to my attention?
And that's saying a lot because you're a Jinder fan.
Jinder at least wrestles more than 3 minutes and he does more than 2 moves.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
I wish he didn't, though.
Yeah, I'd rather have a 3-minute Goldberg match than Jinder.
Yeah.
Jinder has more personality as a human than Goldberg. He
That's
goes out.
True.
He does.
What about
he
Jinder
does,
versus Goldberg?
Jinder should win.
Yeah. What's Jinder's personality? He's dollar store Iron Sheik.
I will take dollar store
than
a Tourette syndrome musclehead juice head. With those little ticks he does.
Ginger's definitely on the juice too, so you can't really toss stones there.
Yeah, but he doesn't act like he's like twitching and he has Tourette's and he does. I don't know. I'm not a Goldberg guy. I never was. I probably never will be.
Now this got brought to my attention. The guy who designed our T-shirt, Alex, shout out to him. He asked me, he said, "Hey, how come Goldberg had security for a place where there wasn't anybody in there?" And I was like, I didn't even think about that.
That's funny.
Because he's an idiot.
I didn't think of that either. Well, in case any fans maybe would somehow get into a building and then attack them.
Oh my God!
Since they couldn't do the regular pyro, they should have had those 2 security guys do the old Gilbert thing where they lit
sparklers. Yeah, the sparklers. That'd have been
great.
Great.
So what was it? 4 spears, 4 power slams. See you later.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Exactly what it should have been. So I was like, that match was right at where my expectations.
Suppose I don't know how true.
If you do,
I don't know how true this is. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eddie. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you do one match like that, don't give us another one like that.
I'm like, there's no way they're gonna do this again, right? But to be continued. Just wait. So from what I read backstage, I don't know how true it is. This is like a what culture reported it, and somebody else. They said Vince and Goldberg got in a heated screaming match backstage before or after the match happened. Supposedly, the reason when they brought Goldberg in, they gave him creative control, and then they turned around, and that's why Goldberg said he should be the one to beat the Fiend, and he pulled rank a little bit, and that's why he took it at Saudi Arabia, that it wasn't even originally supposed to be Goldberg winning that match. I don't know, but I guess pretty much what they're trying to say is that we probably won't see Goldberg in WWE again, which I'm okay with.
So am I.
Well, I read a different report yesterday. I actually reported on the Facebook page that they wanted Goldberg to retain the belt and just have him drop it to Roman whenever they could do the match.
Mm-hmm.
But Goldberg's not signing on for any more dates, and he refused. He was like, nope, this last match I'm doing, so either take the belt off me now or whatever. So they're like, all right, Braun's champ then.
It sucks that this is the way Braun had to win it. Like, you know what I mean? Because the guy, he should have won this probably 2 years ago when he was red hot, or a year ago when he was red hot, and they just did everything they can to destroy this guy. So it's awesome that he finally got a title, but he's not going to keep it long.
No.
Yeah.
I think he loses it the first time they're allowed to have a crowd back. I think he'll lose it that first SmackDown.
Now, who does he lose it to?
Roman.
Yeah.
Or Lesnar.
But I also heard that they're kind of pissed at Roman because he wasn't there.
I don't think
not at all. I heard no, not at all.
Yeah, if anybody had a valid reason not be there, it's Roman.
Listen, I'm not saying he didn't either, but from what the one report was, that Vince wasn't too happy because Vince is like, oh, what are you doing? You should be here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Immunodeficiency. What's that, pal?
Yeah. Stop being a pussy. It's not real. Yeah, but what a shit show match. It's like the prestige of that title has gone down so far, and that didn't help it at all.
But how about this? How about the fact that apparently the audible, if it wasn't Braun, it was going to be Jeff Hardy. How the hell would that have made any sense?
Oh my
wow,
God.
how about that? Hey, JF, go out there and just
I would have loved Kevin Owens just went out there and pulled a Bret Hart,
got the win back,
and he took the spear, but Goldberg stayed down, and he pulls out a fucking chest plate, and then stunned him.
Bret.
Yeah, pulled a Bret Hart. Like I wish I would have loved to seen some Kevin Owens who got screwed. Like Kevin Owens when he's probably as hot as he possibly could be, goes out and gets squashed by Goldberg, and I would have liked him to be the one to kind of pay it back to him on a bigger stage, but it is what it is. Braun
I would have had Scott Hall tase him again, but Goldberg hates Scott Hall.
Oh yeah, I would even had Kevin Owens. I would have did that whole thing. I would have had him tase him. I would have had him wear a chest plate. The whole nine. I would have everything Goldberg could have done.
Tase the chest plate. Just go nuts.
Yeah, 100%. Cut his head off. It'd been
I
great.
would have had Kevin Nash beat him instead of Braun.
One more run.
One more time for Big Sexy.
Oh my God, that one photo he posted of his leg completely crooked. Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah. All right, and then to wrap up night one, Brian, what do we got?
The Boneyard Match.
Now, going into this, I had little to zero expectations that I was going to enjoy this, and I ate my words. Just how it starts off with the coffin rolling in, and they bring the coffin out, and they open it, and it's AJ, and they cut to you don't want none. I was like, you won me over already. This is hilarious.
That really cemented him as like the Shawn Michaels of this generation, because that's the same thing Michaels did after he beat Undertaker at the Rumble, where he killed his back.
Yeah. But then and then Taker rolls in as this kind of how we were talking about he's going to be. He's not going to be so much a dead man. He's going to be like this badass 2.0. I dug it. This is the badass we probably should have had, and not the Fred Durst one. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind if this is what we got for Taker matches from here till he's done, because
I agree.
Being inside of a ring and around people is great, but this is going to save him and make him look a lot better because they can do edits and cuts and
You can take a break if he has to.
100%.
And it just makes him look much stronger in this setting, in the final deletion type match.
Yes.
I really liked it. It was just one big 80s action movie fight scene.
It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. Now, if you're someone
I
who
wouldn't call it a match. But
no,
it would. But it was a great whatever you want to call it, a movie.
I'm going to be honest. I dig these cinematography style matches, skits. I don't mind them. The only problem is that would have never been able to be at WrestleMania. Because do you think, like, if you're someone who's in the crowd, would you sit in the crowd and watch it on Jumbotron?
Yeah,
no, they would have had it live if there was a crowd. They would have just had a match.
Exactly,
yeah,
and I think it wouldn't have had the same effect.
Yeah, it's hard to put that over live because it's all them people just sitting there and they're like, well, I need to come here to watch the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, as cool as this was, and this was great. This was a great way to end the first night of Mania. Is they did 3 of these matches in a week's time.
Yeah, the cool thing about it too, there was
too many.
There was some symbolism in this as well.
And Ciampa and Gargano.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there was some symbolism in this one as well, because at the very end he kind of made a statement that he's not the Deadman anymore, because his Undertaker Deadman logo lights up and he turns his back to it and rides away from it. So like that's the symbolism.
Well, that was not that was just kind of more like for him. That's his symbol. That's why it was there.
Well, no, from what I was reading, that was done purposely like that. Like that he's no longer that character anymore. Like you won't see him come out.
AJ Styles is a dead man now.
Yeah, AJ's dead, but you won't see him come out with the gong and the druids and the dark music.
I highly doubt that.
I don't know where you read that. I don't believe that. I think next time he's allowed to come out in the crowd, he comes out as.
Supposedly, I heard he's going to come out to that Metallica song, and that's going to be his new thing. He's going to take his character in a whole new direction.
I would say no. I would say you won't see this character outside of this, or another one of these.
It'll be interesting.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out soon. Now, kind of in a group chat, I said, it was awesome to see him and AJ do this, but if they were going to shoot it this style, man, this would have been the best way to do Taker Sting.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can still do more matches, like if Undertaker wants to, because I mean, yeah, for us it was 20 minutes, but like I think they recorded it over 6 hours or something.
Now,
so, I mean,
it was like a movie shoot.
Yeah. Now that you've seen something like that, right, and you're like, okay, tonight on Raw or tonight on SmackDown or this pay-per-view, we're gonna do a match, and it's gonna be an Undertaker Boneyard match, and it's gonna and you kind of set the table that like, hey, if you're gonna be here live, you're gonna have to watch a screen. After showing how good that was, do you think people would be more open to seeing that on a screen just as like a 12, 13-minute skit rather than seeing people in the ring? I know if I was at an arena, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I don't know if for people at the arena, it's a hard ask to watch.
Yeah, that's a hard
10
sell.
minutes.
Yeah. Give it a shot. It's worth a shot. Trial and error.
They kind of did a match like that a long, long time ago. They did the Boiler Room Brawl. It ended in the ring, Undertaker and Mankind, but most of that match was in the back.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget WrestleMania 2 was like that. They did 3 locations.
Yeah, closed circuit.
Same with Goldust Piper. It started in and then they filmed it first, and then it ended in the ring. But once it got to the ring, 9 times out of 10 when you do a match like that where it's going on backstage and then it comes out, you can tell that they weren't really doing that, so they come out looking a lot fresher than they were in that video you just watched. And then it always...
in WrestleMania 12, they said it was the White Ford Bronco chase to just show the OJ chase instead of it was Goldust.
Oh my god, that was so amazing. I thought that... I liked it when I was a kid, and then I rewatched as an adult and realized how fucking corny and cheesy and how funny that was. I like it even more. But yeah, I don't know. I like the fact that they didn't have to come to the ring and finish it. Like the Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, when they fought in the house. I thought that was cool.
Oh, that was bad.
I liked it in the house.
That was terrible.
But
I didn't mind that one.
But when it finished in the ring,
the Firefly Funhouse.
when it finished in the ring, I didn't like it as much.
Did they finish that one in the ring?
Yeah, they end up driving back. It happened later on in the night. Yeah.
It was like the end segment it was like Backlash or something. What's the end segment?
Yeah.
I will see you tomorrow. No.
What's stupid about that? When Orton and Bray were wrestling in that house, he had a beard, and then when he came out live, he had like 5 o'clock shadow. I was like, what the fuck?
It's like Rick Rude on Nitro.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's funny.
One of the things I did read about the Boneyard match, and then we'll move on here, is they shot it twice. They shot a couple scenes twice, and then the second take is when Taker actually cut his elbow open on the window. And they were like, should we stop? And he goes, nope, it looks cooler this way. And they kept it rolling. So he legit did cut his arm on that window.
See, Goldberg does that, and he's out for 6 months.
Yeah.
and then Taker, I mean, I'm sure there was padding, but Taker did a tombstone on top of a roof. I mean, come on, that's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing was cool. I mean, it's just
it was great.
An action movie, so that's why I liked it.
Those camera shots.
And there was a conflict. That's why I liked it. It felt like a real fight.
Those camera shots were so cool with the lights and stuff.
Yeah.
It was just done
what Andy
so well.
just said is so important.
Yeah, well, yeah. See what I just said there? It felt like a real fight. Like I know Arnold is the T100 versus T1000 is not real, but it feels like a real fight when I watch it.
How dare you, Andy?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Whereas something else did not feel like a real fight, which we'll get.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the Taker AJ match was my favorite match of night one. Like, I loved Owens and I loved Rollins, but this was just so more entertaining. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely ended on a hot note, but I would still go with Rollins and just, I guess, kind of being a smart fan and knowing that one was done the way it was done, and then what Kevin and Rollins did in a ring. I do enjoy them both. They were both super entertaining, but I would go with Rollins and Kevin as my favorite match of the night, followed by the Boneyard.
Just the one thing, and I'm splitting hairs here, is that whole Undertaker line, and he brought it up in the match about the Holy Trinity. I was expecting a surprise, expecting Kane and maybe somebody else, and then just not getting it was a little bit of a letdown.
Kind of.
Yeah, there was no. What was the unholy trinity anyway?
I have no idea.
He's been talking about it too.
Yeah, his bike and the boneyard itself.
Yeah. I liked when he threw AJ off the roof and he picked him up and goes, "I ain't done with you yet, boy. We're just getting started," or something like
buddy.
that.
I wasn't gonna bury you. That's the only one thing. If I have one nitpick, is Undertaker's real voice is a little not so intimidating.
Yeah. I don't know. I dug it. It was fun. And that was night one for Mania. And then
it was.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break here, and then we'll be right back.
Do you enjoy true crime? Do you enjoy comedy? Are you yourself a murderer or a murder victim?
If you say yes to even one of those questions, the Murder My Dude may be the podcast for you. Each and every week, we provide a comedic spin on the latest true crime news and a closer look at classic cases, too.
So look up Murder My Dude on Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify, Hotbot, Ask Jeeves, or whatever else you would use to find other, lesser podcasts. Subscribe, and then head over to ProjectHumanoid.com to learn more about us.
Or else.
There it is, our first commercial on the show. We're not being paid by those guys, unfortunately, but we run their commercials.
Hell no.
That's Brian's podcast, Murder My Dude, right there. Little new thing to the show to look forward to. We have two other quick commercials we're going to do to plug some other stuff going on. So check that out. Go check those guys out over on Murder My Dude. Cool commercial, by the way, man. I like it.
Oh, thank you.
I found out that I guess that's a more popular way that other podcasts can plug other podcasts is usually you record a commercial and send it to them and be like, hey, you have one, you send it to me, and I'll put it on my show, and you put yours on yours. So it's not bad to have them. I have to go record once for the other shows, but our Tornado Tag podcast has one as well. It will be airing possibly on Murder My Dude and also on the PPW podcast. That's coming out really soon.
There you go. I hope that you guys get some actual murder victims that you said.
Honestly, dude, I would
listen to the podcast.
I would definitely like to listen to someone's story who survived a murder victim, like that it could have happened, and they.
Well, if you survived, you're not a murder victim, Tony. That's a joke.
I know, but I'm saying like if you had a case that something happened where the person did commit, like they're always the person like this. That's a smoking gun that usually gets them caught because the person didn't finish the job. Type thing.
Well, yeah, that happened with that happened with I believe one of the ones we recently covered. I think it was the Toolbox Killers or somebody like that. Somebody survived and they wound up being the person that brought them down. And
the reason we aired that right when it did is because unfortunately AJ Styles was murdered that night. And
yes,
yeah, cold.
That's what we talked about this week.
Yes. Oh, here's the thing. How do you bring AJ back? Do you just have him just come back then?
I don't know, but I'm interested to see how they do it.
I probably have just be on it would be like when they start running shows.
What if AJ just secretly retired right there?
Yeah. Is he supernatural now? Like, yeah, you have to do something.
Him, Al Wilson, and Paul Bearer, like the only people who were ever killed, and Pepper. The only people who were killed.
All right, so night 2 of WrestleMania.
We went through the dark match on this already, where Liv Morgan beat Natty.
Yeah,
and then the first match of the show proper.
It's a big win. A big win for Liv.
Yeah,
I was a fan. Listen, I'm heartbroken that the Riot Squad's not a thing anymore. I really like that stable, but I do like that she's kind of on her own. I don't want to keep bringing this up, but once again, because of the wife was watching it and I watched it with her, she was on one of the episodes where they all go on vacation after Mania last year, and Liv was kind of there. She's a huge fucking goofball. Like she's a giant nerd. She'll play video. Like she's hilarious on Up Up Down Down. And she talked about how she was pretty much brought up in a family, like a really large family, and the mom was kind of by themselves. Their dad passed away when she was really, really young, and it was her first time, because she's really, really young herself. She's like 22 or something like that. She's one of the youngest signees from WWE.
And that might have been why she was in NXT for a little while, because they had a thing, I know, when Paige was around, where they wouldn't bring people up until they were 21.
Yeah. Oh. And because she's super, super, super young, and she was talking about how, like, that vacation for her after Mania was the first vacation she ever took in her entire life. And then she was talking about how close she is with her mom, and her mom never even took a vacation, and the Bella twins kind of flew her mom out and surprised her while they were in Hawaii. But, like, Liv's a really, like, she just comes off, and everything I've ever seen her outside the ring, as a really genuine, cool person. So I hope she gets a push. She seems to be working really, really hard in her getting better in the ring. And she's definitely not afraid to take bumps. That's how she started, was just in the Riot Squad. If someone had to take a crazy bump, she was usually the one to do it.
I'm not too big on her, because, like, you take away her hotness, what is it?
I've seen
I think
worse.
she's actually been improving in the ring.
I agree.
I think she's actually been getting better.
I agree. I think she's getting a lot better, and I think she's putting herself around the right people to get better. I don't think she's a superstar yet, but I think she's definitely further along than most. But yeah, I thought it was.
I think she needs time, but there's something there.
Yeah, I thought her beating Natty was a signs of something good, but then we'll get into Monday Night Raw later. But yeah, so after the pre-show match.
Speaking of questionable decisions in booking, Charlotte Flair defeats Rhea Ripley to win the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah. Wow, did not see that.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
We all kind of said in the back of our mind, if anyone's going to do it, you can never count Charlotte out.
Well, yeah, I think the one that really made a good case for it, if I'm remembering right from last week, was Matt, where, like, do you want to bring Charlotte in as, like, the centerpiece of NXT? I think if Rhea beats her, she can come down as, like, the woman possessed, like, I'm here to go after Rhea. Forget about Raw. I'm down here because Rhea is all I care about now.
Yeah. Now, one of the biggest things with this is there's two conflicting stories. So the first one is her work visa has expired and she has to go back to Australia. That's why they had to drop the title off her. And then once that story broke, maybe a day or two later, she puts something on social media saying, "I'm still in America. I ain't going anywhere." So if that's the case, that maybe like insider leak put out that's saying like that's why she dropped it. She's on social media saying she did not, that whole work visa thing is not true. So I don't know what's going on there. So I guess it's one of those things where they're trying to grab people to go over to watch NXT over AEW.
Finish aside, it was an excellent match, I thought.
100%. I thought Rhea, but Charlotte can pull the best out of anyone in a match. But Rhea definitely held her own.
Finish made sense. This was my favorite match of the two nights. This by far told the best story of any match. It was a slow build. There was selling. There was psychology. There was ebbs and flows.
Great ring gear.
Great ring gear. My only complaint was Rhea's selling went from like a 1 to an 8. Like once, especially when Charlotte just kept working on the leg and working on the knee, it goes in certain levels. I always tell people, watch Ricky Steamboat, watch Ricky Morton, watch Kenta Kobashi, the way that they slowly go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4. She went like from level 1 to level 1.5, right to level 8. And then I think somebody talked about it earlier where, then it sounded like it was porn.
Yeah, where she was screaming a lot. Now here's a question.
That's great.
Here's an angering question for you and Andy here, Matt. when you're in the ring, and this is kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit, so if you don't want to answer it in this context, I understand. But like, say if you're in your match, you're working, and someone's working on a limb. Now, do you tell that person to maybe, hey, give me a couple shots in it, because you want to kind of mentally have it in there, like, oh, this is where I should be hurting. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're overselling, if you're selling a limp, but that's really not there. Like, I've never been in the ring, I've never trained in that situation, so I'm trying to see how you can put yourself in that mindset. You have to remember, oh yeah, that's because I used to pick on Roman Reigns a lot, where he would always, no matter what he was doing, would grab his left elbow. He would just grab his left elbow and act like, and I'm like, that didn't even get hit that match. What are you grabbing that for? Like, because obviously you want to keep that continuity where if that's what's hurting, that's what you want to work on.
Andy, you want to go first, brother?
Yeah, I guess I was going to say, it would more depend on what's happening at the time and what you have planned out. And like let's say you have the guy in the corner and he's working on your arm and you're at the guy in the corner and he's like pulling it over the ropes, doing that thing, pulling it like over, around, and under, like doing that thing. Mm-hmm. And maybe like you whisper to him, hey, give me a couple shots. So it would all depend on where you're at, something like that. But if you're saying like to have you remember that they're working your arm, and that's kind of just comes with wrestling,
Well, I'm saying that is if you put me in a legit arm bar, but you don't put it in to the point where you're trying to break my arm, there is pain there. So there is a way to like. I know, being a kid and messing around and putting moves on each other. If you get put in a Boston Crab, or you get put in a sharpshooter, or you get put in a figure four, you definitely remember that. You're like, even if you're playing around and you quick reverse it, or you hang on to it for a couple minutes and then you break it because you're just kind of playing around, you'll feel that in your leg a little bit. So sometimes pain is your best memory. Like, okay, I should be selling this because legitimately, if he was trying to cinch this in, this would hurt a lot more. Does that help, or like something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it does. Like, my view would be for someone who usually takes the heat in our matches, I always say, okay, we'll do X amount of minutes of heat. Like, sometimes the other heel teams will want to do double team spots. Sometimes they'll want to work a limb. Now, the hardest part for me with working a limb is the leg, because once the leg goes, it's kind of tough for me to get back in the match and for me and Andy to do our tag, our stuff on our tag teams. Like, a lot of times, like, if someone's dead set on working the leg, and we go to do the spike brain buster, before I go to pick them up, I'll start slapping my leg to get like circulation back. Yeah. But one spot I like to do is if they're working on my leg, I like to do a spot where if they're working on my leg and I sail up to the ropes, I have them whip me to the other side of the ropes, and I get a step, maybe a step and a half, and then I collapse. Mm-hmm. And that is a good indicator, because if someone's beating on my leg for 2 or 3 minutes, I shouldn't be able to run. And that drives me crazy when I see it in wrestling, where someone's getting their leg work on, or they're getting posted, or they're trying to, and then they go to send somebody off the ropes, and then they're running, or they do a springboard or something off the top rope. I'm like, wait a minute, 90 seconds ago you couldn't stand, and now you're doing a springboard? Like,
100%.
To me, that kills the credit right there. Kills the credibility of the match.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times too, when they work the leg and then that guy throws a super kick with that leg, like, why would you do that? Your legs hurt.
Yeah.
That's right. That's just not knowing psychology, kind of, or not caring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not less like that super kick is the dead last spot, or your last thing you're gonna be. You like, All Japan, Kings Road, New Japan Strong Style, fire up, and that's like your last ditch effort. Like, I have to throw the super kick to make the tag, or I have to throw the super kick for the pin, and say, like, that's the kick out, like, when the guy kicks out because you couldn't get a full cover, and you can always use that excuse with, like, oh, I only put one arm on him because I couldn't cinch the leg because my leg hurt. Yeah. So there's different ways, there's different levels, there's different psychologies, and it all depends on what story you're telling, if it's going to be a return match, what are you going to bring it back with? Is the crowd buying it? Like, what are you trying to do? There's all certain different levels, and to me, that's just the art of pro wrestling.
Yeah. Now, here's a cool thing I do like. I think what kind of got me back into pro wrestling after leaving to go to be a full-time mixed martial arts fan, and then kind of coming back to it, where when someone does work a limb, or they do that psychology, I do enjoy that a lot more. Or when a wrestling fan turns around and sees someone like Kyle O'Reilly throw a leg kick, and he hits, or Shinsuke hits someone with a leg kick 4 times, and you're like, why is he overselling the leg over those? Like, no, those leg kicks are legit. Like, there's legit fighters who have lost fights because they took 3 leg kicks and they couldn't walk anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of like that a lot of wrestling fans and mixed martial arts fans are kind of crossing over, and they can see that transition from one to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I think Matt brought him up specifically as an example of a great seller. Ricky Steamboat used to watch boxing matches so he could mimic the way boxers would stagger once they got hit.
Yeah, I spent a weekend with Ricky Steamboat, and obviously when Punk was training us, he was feuding with Punk, and we'd always take the time to sit down and talk with us, and that's exactly what he told me. We actually did drills where we would get beat up for 3 minutes, and we'd have to sell like a boxer. Now, boxing to me is almost like a dead sport. To me, it's MMA. So when I watch MMA, because I'm a huge MMA fan, whenever I sell, I try to almost like sell like them. Like if I get hit with something big, I'm trying to bounce off the rope. I'm trying to run away. I'm trying to get away. So it's just like I thought that was very smart. With I never ever heard that before. I'm like, well, it makes sense. Back time when he was training in the 70s, the most legit sport was boxing, especially heavyweight boxing. At Foreman, Ali, Frazier, all those guys. So he'd watch those tapes, and I was like, that makes sense because he's trying to make it as legit as possible.
100%. And as an MMA fan, there are certain guys that will draw me to watch their matches more just because of that psychology, because it makes it look legit. But when Cesaro took that black mask kick from Aleister a couple, maybe like last year or late last year, early this year, I forget exactly when it was, and he hit him with it, and it looked like he legit turned his lights off. We talked about it in the show. I'm like, I thought it was a legit kick. I thought he had a concussion. I thought he legit was knocked out because the way he sold that, his legs went limp, and he literally let his face at the floor as if somebody legit knocked him the F out. And then the next week he was on Raw. So I'm like, okay, he definitely wasn't concussed because they wouldn't let him work the next night. But it was one of those kicks that Cesaro sold so well, it impressed me more, and it made that black mask kick look so much more legit.
I know we're kind of going all over the place here. I'll just say this and I'll shut up. One of the greatest sell jobs I've ever seen off a strike to get somebody over was when Misawa beat Stan Hansen for the Triple Crown. I don't know if he beat him or he retained. I want to say he beat him, but anywho. So this is when Stan Hansen wasn't putting anybody over. So he took one giant forearm from Misawa, and instead of taking a normal back bump, he sold it like as if he was dead. I mean, as soon as he got hit, you can go back and watch it now, and you're like, was he selling or was he legit knocked out? Like the way he like folded forward instead of taking a back bump, which 99% of the other people did. But I think he said in an interview the reason why he did is, one, he didn't want to take the back bump, and two, it made it more legit for him to be knocked out going forward than backwards, because it was something completely different.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Brian, our next match here.
And it all kind of ties into the whole MMA and what we were just talking about. Aleister Black defeats Bobby Lashley.
I think this match went exactly how it should have went. And then we're getting maybe Bobby Lashley. This is the match I hit perfect points on. I hit everything down to the point, down to the even the finishers, double points. So I finished with 16 with this one. And they're possibly looking to break up Lashley and Lana, which is good.
Brunette Lana.
Brunette. I'm a personal fan of brunette, so I like it more. But yeah, so
and there was a little spot on Raw. It definitely seems like they're breaking up Lana and Bobby Lashley.
It just annoys me that they did it, and they put that much time into a storyline to break them up after Mania. Like, come on, like really?
Yeah. Well, first off, it annoys me that they built this storyline to Mania, and then we didn't even get Rusev versus Lashley at WrestleMania anyways.
Yeah,
and then just break them up.
Rusev has his contract issue.
Yeah, so what was even the point? The whole thing was worthless, and now they're just like, okay, now we're going to break them up.
Well,
that whole shit was stupid.
Lana resigned.
Looking at it better.
Lana resigned. Rusev has yet to resign.
Yeah, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I wonder if Bobby Lashley's going babyface. I think that might be what's happening here.
I can see that.
Possibly.
I mean, sure, turn a babyface, but the crowd's still not going to cheer for the guy. I mean,
he just has no charisma whatsoever.
No. He's a big... That's my fear, is like, a guy like Owens can get a title shot, but they turn Bobby Lashley babyface, and then Owens gets buried again.
He'll get the belt. Yeah.
And they need Leo Rush back with him. At least he had a hype, man. At least it added a different level to him.
Dude, annoying Leo Rush with him was the best when he had the microphone, just being a prick. I loved it.
Yeah, it was the best.
Bobby. Next match, Brian.
The next match was Otis beating Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, fun.
This match was great.
It was good. We got to find out on SmackDown going into it that that it was kind of DeVille and Dolph behind everything. The only thing that I kind of watched on What Culture, and I kind of agree with them, is they were pleading their case that they're really sorry and they didn't mean it to be this way. And they came out on Mania together like, fuck it, we accept it. We're pieces of shit. Like, posed together to an empty arena. Like, not much continuity there to that story, but
thankfully GTV was there to save them.
Yeah.
This match was just straight up Jerry Springer trash. Like, it was just such a stupid storyline that I've hated all year long. I hate Otis. I don't like him at all.
Oh, the storyline was awesome.
But the fact that
I wouldn't say that.
The fact that it ended on the way that it ended, I'm like, all right, fine. They got their happy moment. Now we can finally be done with this bullshit, and hopefully we can move on.
Here's my hope. My whole takeaway from this, I hope happens. They finally moved Sonya Deville away from Mandy. Let Sonya develop her own thing now, because I think she's fun to watch, and I think she can actually make a run and be something. But she's always been second best to who she's been around. So I think maybe if you kind of put her on her own now as her own thing, it could work for her. But I also said the same thing for Dana Brooke with Charlotte, and Dana Brooke disappeared. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
She's another one that blends that MMA. I know she trained at, I think, American Top Team, and she has had 2 professional fights and 5 amateur fights. And the MMA stuff they allow her to do, it's really, really good. So maybe if they let her go down that way.
She didn't have an impressive record, or she didn't have anything noteworthy to talk about. She mostly just trained and had some fights here and there. But I mean, I wouldn't bill her as an MMA fighter anymore, because if you have legit people like Ronda and Shayna in there. She would get crushed by both of them. I would just kind of make her own thing. If anything, I would get her away from the fighter thing. Like, she could throw punches and stuff, obviously, but I wouldn't book her as this MMA legend. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do that. That's just me, though, because as an MMA fan,
I don't get why they never just went with her as a babyface. I mean, she's openly gay. She could be very popular with that crowd. You know, she could have been the face, and Mandy could have been a big time heel, but they're going to go the other way with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that as well. She could definitely be in that spokesperson, but we'll see we'll see how they do it.
How do you boo Mandy though?
How do you boo her?
I mean, if she was deplorable like Trish Stratus was, I mean, Trish is just as hot, if not hotter, and she got booed.
Yeah, you could be the hot chick that like, I'm too good. None of you can get with me. You want to be with me, but you can't. So that's easy.
She should be exactly. She should be with Charlotte. She should be what Charlotte should be. She should use her sex appeal as well as her flair. I have dudes in the back lined up to bang me.
I'll be in hotel room 283 and the door is open.
Listen here, you fat pig. I mean, your husband would leave you in a second for Charlotte Flair. That'd be amazing. I'll even kiss that fat boy over there. Look at woo, and then hip thrust at him. Oh my God, Flair's a treasure. Oh, he's so great. All right, next match.
I believe the next match is still going on. It's Edge versus Randy Orton.
Yeah, they're still going. We'll keep you updated.
We can all sum it up with 2 words: too long.
A little too long.
Yeah.
A little shit.
A little too long. A little too Benoit.
Yeah, a little Benoit there.
That part didn't bother me because I mean, you can't just say. Yeah, anytime someone strangles someone with that, I mean, I don't know.
How many people get strangled with weights? That does not happen very often.
Yeah, but I mean, is every time someone gets shot in the head going to be called JFK? So, I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if you can really do.
If they're on a parade route, yes.
But yeah, if someone gets shot during a parade, I would say they got JFK.
If you're gonna do a match in a weight room and someone puts a Bowflex around your neck, it's always gonna be turned to Benoit. It's always gonna turn there. This is totally not funny, but here I am chuckling. Here's all right, kind of. I'll get into it later with the NXT thing. It did go long. They definitely tried to put more emotion into it than they probably needed. I didn't hate it, but it was very long.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're obviously guys who know what they're doing, so they're not going to stumble all over the place. But it would have been a match. It would have been probably better 10, 15 minutes shorter.
Yeah,
I would have cut a solid 20 minutes off, and I think it would have been better for the whole entire thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a live crowd, that was 20 minutes. That would have been perfect.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But for like the pre-taped thing and like rolling over, this is kind of like, it's still going. They're still doing this. Like, what? Jeez, do they have to shoot each other pretty soon? To, like, put each other down?
This definitely was the match that suffered the most for not having a crowd. Because if they had a crowd, they wouldn't have even went backstage. It would have been in the ring and outside the ring, but it wouldn't have went
Yeah,
the place that it went.
Yeah.
They could have been like Rock Hogan, where they had to do like next to nothing, and the people were like, "Oh my god!"
Yep. Edge could have walked in the ring and a full crowd took a shit in the middle of it, and they would have cheered it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of sucks that Edge didn't get that moment, but he'll get it. He'll get it at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Edge was going to have his entrance music played live if the WrestleMania would have happened, which that's a huge bummer. Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah. All right, next match.
Yeah, I agree too long. I know some people loved it, some people didn't care for it. I thought this match might have been the one of the worst ones of Mania. It was just way too long.
I think that's what really ruined it. The length.
Yep.
And it was one that I was looking forward to. I know a lot of people thought, "Hey, this was probably one of the best matches of the weekend," and it wasn't.
Dude, exactly. That's the most match I was looking forward to the most with Edge and Orton because I love Edge, and it let me down so much.
Yeah.
And I think it was. I think Tyler, you're the one that said it. Like if you just took that match and the Daniel Bryan Sami Zayn match a lot at the same time and just split it close to evenly, you would have been way better off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Our next match, Brian.
Our next match, here's one for Andy. Rob Gronkowski wins the 24/7 title for Mojo Raleigh.
Next match.
Here's
Brian.
what I gotta say: is he trying to be a jerk off?
Yes.
Because like if he's trying to be a jerk off, he's doing a wonderful job.
He's been trying since he came into the NFL.
Like
And
I don't know anything about football, so for me, this is the first time seeing this guy. I'm like, he's a douchebag.
He's
like,
exactly.
Why would anyone like him?
He's exactly what I thought he was going to be. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
So the next real match was for the Raw Tag Team titles. The Street Profits defeated Austin Theory and Angel Garza.
This is a fun match.
Hey, good for Austin Theory again.
And this was excellent.
Short, but it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
They had like an hour-long segment on Raw. So
Yeah. So yeah, they made up. They made up
Yeah.
for it the next night. Jesus Christ! I almost turned Raw off. I was like, I love you, Street Profits, but I can't fucking deal with this anymore. But we'll get to that.
It's become a running gag putting over Angel Garza, but Montez Ford too. That guy has superstar written all over him.
Oh my God, he does. 100%. Like to me, he is because let's be honest, and this is not. I'm not using race. I'm not trying to put race in forefront, but we all know in WWE it's very hard if you're a person of different ethnicities to get over and to be over as someone who could be relatable, especially unless you're lighter skin. The Rock you can get by, and if you're not a Samoan, but Montez Ford, I honestly I feel like he could be the next like Eddie Guerrero of his generation. Like that dude can be a superstar. I know he's part of a tag team, and I like his tag team, but even solo, I just think that guy he's just gold.
I think there's more worth in him as the solo act, and the other guy is definitely the Marty Jannetty of the team.
Yeah.
And if Montez Ford and Bianca Belair ever have children, those children are going to be the next Jim Thorpe.
Yeah. They are going to be superstar
so
athletes. Yeah. Jesus Christmas. Yeah, fun match. I enjoyed it. Listen, I'm a Street Profits guy. This is actually a match I actually had perfect down the card once again. I didn't hit dead nuts when it came to aerial moves, but I was plus or minus one off, so I did finish with 17 points here. I like that. I like this team. And Austin Theory, like I said, he definitely showcased that he belongs in there just as much as a Montez Ford or a Garza.
After this, because Gronk is gone, Titus O'Neil takes over as the host of WrestleMania.
Good choice.
And we have a 5-way elimination match for the women's title where Bayley hangs on and beats Sasha Banks, Lacey Evans, Tamina, and Naomi in an elimination match.
They swerved me. I thought for sure we were gonna get the Bayley Sasha feud, and I thought she would. I mean, she kind of was directly involved, but they're still planting the seeds. But I would have liked to see maybe Naomi or someone not get someone new with the title, but I wasn't upset with the way it ended.
Exactly the way I booked it last week is the way that it pretty much went. I knew that Bayley would just use Sasha and she would do whatever to retain her belt, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
This match to me.
Go ahead.
This match to me was on the card was the most over cheap match. I thought this match was, my expectations were kind of the middle.
Yep.
I thought the match was excellent, and I talked earlier about how John Morrison was number 2 as far as stocks goes up Lacey Evans, her stock went up 1,000,000% in this match.
Yeah.
And I know everybody I talked to that I watched the show with on the Zoom thing or whatever we were doing. They basically totally agreed with me. She looked great in this match. I know me and Andrew talk all the time. Like, she just got pushed down. Like, she was in NXT for a little bit and she got called up way too fast and then went right to a feud with Becky Lynch.
Charlotte.
And it was just too much. No, she went to.
Yeah, you're right, Becky. You're right, Becky.
Right
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Right after Mania, and it was just like, it's too much too quick. You can see how far she's gone in a year. She's always, like, the last couple months, something was off. Like, her timing was off a little. Her ring positioning was off a little. Like, there's always like one or two little things that add up to be so much where it just wasn't catching.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was because there was 4 other people in this match that really know what they're doing, or she's just catching on, or Finlay put this together, or a little combination of everything. But her timing was on, her selling was really good, her firing up was really good, everything she did was good, her ring positioning was great. I thought Lacey Evans came off looking like a superstar in this match, and I would not be shocked in the summertime once the ball get rolling again as they give her a monster push, because I would love to see what she can do, in that nature.
Yeah.
Do you think she might have been more at ease without a crowd?
Maybe she wasn't as nervous. Maybe that could be it too. That I don't know.
Yeah.
Which would be weird because, that seems to be where she, even back then, she would excel with the whole personality side, but maybe it was putting it all together, and hopefully this is something she can build on.
Yeah, possibly.
I
thought her stock up 1,000,000%.
I'll tell you what, the women's division is at a new... I know we're talking about the women's evolution and them doing really, really good things, but I just feel like they're putting the right people in place, like even moving them up to the main roster. I think there's a lot of the right key things in place, and I think the women's roster, for the most part, is really gelling as people together. Like, they get along with each other, and I think they're motivating each other to definitely get better. Natty obviously is your veteran, your legend, so she definitely brings the work ethic. But I even think, and this is not a shot at being a heart, but I think they get to a point where they think they got where they need to be and they're done, where you have people like are willing to go above and beyond. And I think Lacey's one of those people who are willing to go above and beyond. I think personally Carmella's stock has went tremendously up. I think she looks great in the ring, and I think she's gotten a lot better. I still think she is one of the best super kicks in wrestling. I think her super kick looks fantastic. I just think the women's division, like, they're no longer wanting to be just the women's division. They want to be just considered as much. And there is certain women who I think plateaued, and I think there's certain women who are willing to take it to the next step. And Lacey's definitely high on that list, where she just has that work ethic, and she's willing to take constructive criticism from being a Marine and going through what she's went through. And I agree. I think she's someone who can definitely be a monster push soon. And
are we going to the next one?
Yeah, sure. Next match.
I don't want to.
So the next match is the Firefly Funhouse match. Here we go. Put on your boxing gloves, boys, because it's gonna get crazy. I pretty much perfected everything on this card except the match.
Put on your
time.
boxing gloves, but don't try to hit your opponent. So
Yeah.
that's
So-
what you're gonna do here.
All right, so if you tuned into the Firefly Funhouse expecting a match, you are going to be disappointed. It was not a match.
If you turned into this expecting pro wrestling, you didn't get it.
Exactly, I'll agree with that.
My point of contention.
I will 100% with you. But if you're someone who tuned into this expecting Firefly Funhouse, you are going to love it.
And to be sports entertained. I was highly sports entertained at this match, or whatever you want to call it.
I
don't know what I think.
This was a skit. This was 100% a skit. This was not a match.
Yes.
This was
A
100% a sketch. And if you tune into it expecting a skit, because, listen, when they tell you on Raw that you are going to get a Firefly Funhouse segment, you get a Firefly Funhouse segment. So going into it, and they said this is a Firefly Funhouse match, I got exactly what I expected. And it's very artsy fartsy, where they talk about stuff and explain stuff without explaining it, and they want you to be open to your own interpretation. So for me and someone who's into that kind of thing, I really enjoyed it, but I can definitely see for some other people why they would have hated it.
Yeah, because like somebody posted on Twitter and they broke it down and they explained the whole match in like 8 paragraphs. If you need 8 paragraphs to explain why a wrestling match is good, it's not good. Like, look, AJ versus Undertaker. AJ talks shit about Undertaker and his wife. Undertaker's like, oh yeah, I'm going to show you. That's it. Conflict. Then they had a fight. what the hell happened here?
I think people were kind of getting ahead of themselves with how sophisticated it was. Basically, Bray explained what it was. It's okay. He's Cena seeing the things he always feared to becoming. Like, okay, great, yeah.
The Fiend put John Cena through his worst nightmare, but he also tied it into their
me through mine too.
Yeah,
I don't know, but like some of the times when the Fiend's in the corner, John Cena's like swinging wildly. I'm like, this doesn't even feel.
He's standing next to the guy he's supposed to be fighting and lifting weights for no reason.
Yeah, like this doesn't even feel like a conflict at all. Like not for 1 second.
So hear me out here, and I know I have at least 3 comic book nerds in this thing. Did any of this give you Batman Joker hallucination vibes at all?
No.
That's how I looked at it. I look at this as Bray Wyatt took John Cena to a different. I know you hate the whole.
He hit him with scarecrow gas
in a way, but not really in a way, because there is a lore to Bray Wyatt that he has some type of supernatural ability. So he took John Cena into a different realm or a different universe or a different mind state where John Cena reenacted his worst fears. So he's trying to swing at him and he's swinging wildly, but it's like it's like in a dream where you want to fight your way out of a dream, but you can't. Like, you just always destined to lose. Like, he just literally did everything that he took John Cena through his worst nightmare. Like, going back to the Boneyard, I would love to see how John Cena comes back after this. Like, I would love to see John Cena come out and talk after this.
Well, he's in the Phantom Zone now, so he can't.
Yeah. He disappeared.
Yeah, so who knows?
I don't know. It felt to me a lot like those old Dungeons of Doom segments.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I was like. This is like Hogan coming and touching the water, saying it's not hot. Like,
or when Hogan saw the Ultimate Warrior in the mirror and Eric Bischoff couldn't see him.
Yeah, it's that stuff. Like, it's it's suspend disbelief, but I don't know. It wasn't the worst thing I ever seen.
It was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, Brian.
It made me want to not watch wrestling anymore.
Here's the way that I explained it. Okay, like, my wife went to bed maybe 2 matches before this, and she's like, just let me know in the morning what happens. Now,
Good luck.
Now my wife's been watching wrestling since we've been together, so like 10, 11 years. I've been watching wrestling over 30. Obviously, the coolest thing in this whole thing is John Cena turning heel and joining the NWO. To me, that was super cool, even though it was a completely different federation and whatever, but they showed what would have happened if he hit him with the chair, and this was WCW in 1996, he would have joined the NWO. To me, that was really cool. And then even you throw it back 10 years earlier, where they're doing the Saturday Night's Main Event skit with Hogan and Savage in the cage. I'm like, this is nostalgic. This, to me, was super cool. I really enjoyed it. Will I ever see it again? Watch it again? Probably not, but, I enjoyed it. What was on my TV that I paid the $10 a month for. Mm-hmm. So I was, like I said, was this Okada Ibushi? By no means.
No,
but
not
I was highly sports entertained. So again, I try to explain it to my wife, and she's just like, I know what the NWO is, but like, why that doesn't make any sense. And then she's like, what's Saturday's main event? I'm like, forget. She's like, I wouldn't have liked it. I'm like, no. She's like, so I went to bed at the right time. I'm like, yes, because let me tell you about the shortest, laziest main event in the history of WrestleMania.
I'm kind of in between. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it like Bryan as much as Bryan hated it. I didn't like it like Tony thinks he really enjoyed it. I just took it as what it was. I took it as a segment, and I got the segment. I understood, I got the simple story of, it's John Cena facing all his fears. And I was like, all right, I'll never watch it again, but it happened.
The closest thing I can compare it to is Southpaw Regional Wrestling, but you don't put that in the semi-main of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Now, that's right. And this match just kind of made me find my inner Jim Cornette. It went too far.
I would have put it earlier in the night. I would have put it earlier in the night. I wouldn't have put it towards the end. That's just the only.
Well, not live.
I think the placement that would have never worked, and they would have never done that live. That would have been a
with a crowd.
Yeah,
they would have had a match.
Yeah, 100%. Now,
and they would have had a match that would have still sucked because the Fiend can't pull his own weight, and Cena is. I mean, Cena is a good worker. He's better than people give him credit for. But it's still, I think that if Rollins and Bray can have a good match, I can't expect Cena and the Fiend to have a good match.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt shows you how good Daniel Bryan really is.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I agree. Bray Wyatt's a great character. He has great ideas for stories, but his ring work is definitely not the best. Yeah, he's very good with continuity and building a story, but when he has to get in the ring, it's different. Now, something interesting.
There's like a disconnect. He's not bad in the ring. Like, I wouldn't watch him go.
He's old school. He's very old school. He's not going to do anything flashy, but he can tell you a story while he's in between the ropes as well. his lore is there. One of the things that did happen during this Firefly Funhouse that was a very, very small glimpse of something, and it was very, very, very dark. But we got the first physical. We got the first physical manifest of a Sister Abigail person on that Firefly Funhouse.
I didn't see that at all.
During the one skit, it's very dark, and there's a whole bunch of TVs and monitors there, and there's a woman sitting in a chair with very bright grayish blonde hair.
Wasn't that puppet?
It was the puppet, and then it flashed to an actual person.
Oh, okay.
And people have taken it online and blew it up and tried to turn the brightness up, and it's definitely I'm not going to say it looks like Liv Morgan, but it does have resemblances. Now, just kind of going backstage, I know there's a lot of people that WWF are looking for when it comes to this upcoming year and people they want to sign, and there's people whose contracts are coming up and some people's contracts that are very close to coming up, and there's two people that Vince are really, really trying to go out of their way to pick up, and one's a guy, one's a girl. One's Brian Cage, obviously, that we all know about, that Vince is going very, very hard for, as well as Rosemary.
He's going to AEW.
Yeah, they are trying very, very hard to get Rosemary. Now, the rumor is Rosemary will be a Sister Abigail character. If they can't if they can't get Rosemary, then they're going to try to go for I guess they're kind of holding it kind of like with the Exalted One, where like if they can't get Matt Hardy, then they're going to go with like kind of we had that theory. So that's kind of where they're kind of maybe hinting. And when people blew it up and brightened it, the face maybe resembled a little bit of her, but so they actually are showing that there is a physical manifestation of that character now.
I would think it was no one in particular, because obviously they can't use Rosemary because she's signed with Impact. So, I would venture to say that Vince has no idea who that even is. I've never seen her, so it's probably more Triple H or something like that.
Yeah, and then there's also
because Vince doesn't.
No, Vince supposedly Vince is very well aware of Rosemary.
I would doubt that. I would doubt.
That's reports. Vince is well aware of Rosemary, and he's very well aware of Brian Cage.
Someone had to show him, because Vince doesn't watch anything that's not WWE.
So we'll see what happens there, and then
real quick, based on that, did anybody see Dolph Ziggler get in trouble over the weekend because somebody tweeted him and they're like, "Who's your favorite NXT star? Who do you think is going to be a big star?" And he's like, "I have no idea because I don't watch other wrestling. I don't watch wrestling at all. I'm not a fan."
Wow, how about that?
Yeah. Yeah, if you do something over and over. I knew a guy who played professional baseball, and to this day he can't watch it. He's like, dude, I was a relief pitcher in the MLB. He lived in Pottsville. I forget his name. I was talking to him while we were on a construction job one time. And he's like, dude, I can't watch it. It's the most boring sport of all time. Imagine being on the bench in MLB. You think watching it is boring? Fuck, imagine being on the bench and waiting for it to get in as a relief pitcher. He goes, it's like paint dry.
I can see that, but I wrestle, and I like to watch wrestling as much as I possibly can.
Yeah,
I'm the same way. But look at Punk. I never met anybody more dedicated to the. I mean, I've seen him come up. You know, didn't know anybody more dedicated to the business. But I guess basically what WWE did to him, they just killed his love for it.
They killed his love.
He got burned out.
Yep, that's exactly what happened with Ziggler. He got burned out. I mean, how many times is Ziggler so close to not signing a contract, but just does it for the money? I mean, every other 5 years.
He's a guy. If he went to any other promotion, he can be a Johnny Morrison. Where anywhere he go, he would be a fucking superstar.
Well, gentlemen, I got to get going. What's left is the main event.
Yeah, that's the last match.
We're at the main event.
Drew McIntyre.
Can I just get my 2 cents and then I can peace
absolutely.
out? I mean, I completely understand what happened from what I heard from multiple sources. Lesnar went there and was like, "You should have," went right up to Vince, was like, "You should have canceled this. I don't want to be here. I want my match to go on, as soon as possible so I can get out of here." And Vince told him no. So I'm assuming this was Lesnar's call to go this short. I feel really bad for Drew McIntyre, who fought and clawed to get to the stage. And obviously 2 circumstances beyond his control. 1, Lesnar didn't want to do any work. And 2, the fact that it should have been in front of 80,000 people. And it was in front of anybody. But I think Drew McIntyre, he's a professional. All of his interviews that he's done and all of his posts he's put on social media about this have been nothing but positive. So good on him to that. This was the worst Mania main event of all time.
Yes.
I mean, everybody works to get to that spot. And the fact that Lesnar was so lazy that this was another 4 or 5 minute match where they just did their finishers. And and that was it. I just felt really bad for Drew McIntyre.
I 100% agree with you.
So that's my stick. I apologize, gentlemen. I got to get going. I have a little TV date with my wife, and I know she's downstairs waiting for me. Not too happy, so.
Well, listen, I appreciate you calling in, man.
No, thanks for having me. Andy Header, make sure you plug the Pro Wrestling Tees site with the Spring Fling Club.
I will.
So there you go, get some sales up. But thanks for having me, gentlemen, and I will talk to you later.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. See you later.
All right, bye.
Yeah, I think he nailed it. He nailed it on the head there. Yep, just kind of getting the backstage stuff and stuff like it. We're all rooting for Drew McIntyre. The dude's a really cool dude. I know when Dave was a part of the team for a while, he went to go see Drew McIntyre, and he was wearing his Tornado Tag Podcast shirt, and he was wearing the WrestleMania one. And he said to him, like, "Oh, Tornado Mania, I like that." Like he, for everything Dave said, he's a really cool guy, even when you meet him as a fan. Like I said, he worked his ass off. He rebranded himself, left the company, came back to the company, just did everything he possibly could to get to where he was, and to have these circumstances. I think he even handled it like a champion. Like he looked at the crowd and said to the fans, like, "I know you're not here. You're here with me in spirit. I thank you so much." Like he's gonna do very well.
I think so, and I like how in that video he's like, "I didn't want to be known as the idiot that played air guitar." But I was like, "Hey, Tanahashi," but still,
yeah,
I like that they even brought up Strowman back, because usually WWE, like, if you did something totally different, they just totally that never happened.
Yeah, it never existed. So, no, he's very aware of where he was and where he came from.
Yeah.
Did you guys see him and Heath Slater when they were both on the bump, like yesterday or the day before? I think it was.
No.
Oh, it was great, man. Heath Slater and him had this big talk, and Heath Slater was like, "I just want you to know, man, that no one's more proud of you than your mom. She's looking down on you up there in heaven, and she's proud of you." And they both start crying on the thing, and it was super emotional. And Drew was like, "Dude, I love you. Thank you for bringing that up." Like, it was really nice.
Yeah. That's the thing, like, the cool thing about tag team wrestling, and I wish Matt was still here to maybe talk about this, but, like, Andy can definitely bring it. When you team up with somebody, even on an indie level, like, you really get to know that. If you really want to be a good tag team and get that chemistry, like, you make it a point to be a part of each other's lives and know each other and get to, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's teams that are thrown together, and there's teams that maybe are thrown together, or teams that, like, become together, that you form a bond that you can't explain. Am I right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, especially if you actually like the person.
Yeah.
Both, like each other. Because a lot of teams, they just are makeshift and they don't really get along.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that they hate each other in real life, but they're just not really friends. So,
yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, them guys, they were probably traveling and, of all the car rides and everything, so they probably really got to know each other really well.
Yeah.
So they're probably good friends, especially with Jinder as well. So, I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, super proud of McIntyre. I'm really happy that he's getting a title run. It sucks.
Yeah,
that
he looks like a world champion.
He does.
Like, not to say, yeah, you have to be tall, but he's what, 6'5", he's jacked to the gills. He just looks like he should be the world champion.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for Mania. Unless you guys have anything else to add. Were you not disappointed as well as everyone else, or are you on the same page as that? I think Matt pretty much summed it up for everybody.
I did not like the main event. I was watching stuff like, well, not another finisher match. We just had one yesterday.
Yeah, just very disappointing.
Yeah.
The last half of that second night was just.
The only thing I'll say about it was that it made Drew look even more badass that he beat somebody that quickly. But the fact that it had to end in 4 minutes, that did suck. Like that, especially if that's gonna be the main event of Day 2 WrestleMania, like that was such a letdown.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna run a quick commercial, and we'll be right back. And then we'll come back and we'll quick wrap up because we are at like an hour and 35 minutes. So we'll quick go through Monday Night Raw and then what happened on Wednesday. So just hang out real quick and check out this word from a quick commercial.
Hi there, my name is Curtis Kowalski, and I am the creator and one of the hosts of the PA Piledriver podcast. We're a local podcast that really enjoy professional wrestling and the independent scene here in northeastern Pennsylvania. We're a good group of guys, myself, Chris McNaney, and Brian Krause. We just all love professional wrestling, and especially PPW. And you can find us on Anchor or Spotify. Just search the PA Piledriver podcast for some of the best wrestling podcasting out there.
There it is, our buddies over at the PA Piledriver. So let's get into Raw real quick. We'll kind of breeze through it. Brian, how do you want to start this off? I know you have the full card. I don't want to break through the full card. It does start off.
There was a lot of matches, wasn't there?
There was a lot that went on.
I didn't see Raw. So
It did.
Yeah, we
it-
kind of mentioned the beginning there where Asuka beat Liv Morgan. You were kind of disappointed. That
Yeah, I
Liv
felt
didn't
like
get
I
another
felt
one
like
there.
going into the Asuka Liv Morgan, if she beats Natty, who's a former champion, and she gets a win over Asuka, that can definitely put her in the run as she's becoming something. And they just kind of, she had a great performance, but she still lost.
And I think you needed to rehab Asuka a little bit. She already dropped the tag titles, even though she didn't take the fall. She lost to Becky, so I was fine with Asuka winning here. She's a bona fide star, not on the rise, but somebody who's already there.
Yeah,
yeah, and then
I
too, I think they're kind of
I can get by
the
that.
end of the Kabuki Warriors because
And then the next part all
That's
kind of
nice,
bled
like,
together,
I-
so let's just talk about it all at once. You first had the Street Profits beating Austin Theory and Angel Garza by DQ. Then you had Bianca Belair beat Zelina Vega.
Well,
and then you had
Bianca
Belair and the
Belair
Profits
comes out-
beating Vega and the other people.
Yeah, well, Bianca Belair comes out and says, "Well, I belong here now." So that's a call up in my eyes.
I go here now is what she
I
said.
go here now.
It is a call up. Hey, it's totally a call up. If she's saying I go here, it means I'm here.
So now let's look at the raw picture real quick. You have Becky, and then you have her and Shayna going at it. You have Bianca Belair, who now says she's part of the roster. Like that's Asuka's still there. You have Liv Morgan, who's making a big run, and then later on in the show, I'll kind of just jump ahead. Nia Jax makes her debut back after two ACL surgeries, and she was a force. You know what I mean? Love her or hate her, she's still a force in the industry. So Raw's women division is looking pretty fun.
And it's part of its coverage too, because now Charlotte's going to probably spend a lot of time in NXT, so it kind of fills that void, even though apparently she's going to be on Raw too.
Yeah.
which is weird, but well,
I think she just if you made the choice to go to NXT, you stay in NXT.
yeah, like
Stay off Raw.
Yeah, exactly. I think it needs to be like they need to start taking this shit seriously. And if you're on a brand, you're on the brand. No more of this bullshit of you can challenge for any belt that you want, switch back and forth, like all this shit. What's the point of you having brands and that's just stupid?
Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, Charlotte had the up because she won the Rumble, so she could call her shot. But yeah,
No, that I understand, sure. But I'm saying, like, now she should have to stay in NXT at least till she loses the belt. It shouldn't
I
be
agree.
a thing where she's giving
I totally
interviews
agree.
saying, "Oh, I'm going to defend the belt on all three brands." Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, Charlotte. I look at it this way: Charlotte Flair is getting very, very close to that territory that John Cena was in for a long time, where people think she has the golden shovel and she thinks she's out there just for herself. And I think a lot of fans are really, really going to.
I think she's already in that territory.
Yeah, she's already in that territory, and fans are going to fucking turn on her very, very soon.
Yeah, I think, like Brian said, I think that's already happening.
Yeah,
I think that started happening when she beat Asuka. To be honest,
I'm gonna step away for 1 second if you guys want to cover the rest of the Raw real quick. I won't be that long.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, there was a backstage thing where Lashley was talking about maybe ditching Lana, and then Lana just blames Charlie Caruso for it. And then we had a 27-minute plus match for Aleister Black beat Apollo Crews.
Ooh, that is way too long.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of both guys. Like, I love Aleister Black, and I think Cruz is really good, but that went way too long.
Yeah, Tony apparently left his thing
Andy,
down,
with us?
and it's echoing. All of us are echoing.
I think we might have lost Andy.
Yeah, really?
Okay, we'll just kind
Oh,
of
no, I can hear him.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? I'm still
jump
here.
through here. Then we had Ricochet and Cedric Alexander beating Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan. Match was so quick, I took my dog out and I missed it.
You didn't miss much. I mean, it was okay.
I love those guys too. I love Burch and
Yeah,
Lorcan.
they're a good team. I like Ricochet and Cedric actually together since they're both not being used at all anyways. They might as well be a team and do something.
And then we had Kevin Owens cut a promo. Yeah, like I think you were mentioned earlier, Tyler. He's the prize fighter again. It seemed like he was getting back to that. And then Seth Rollins has a quick squash match beating Denzel Dejournette.
Yeah, whoever that is.
And then another
what
squash
was that?
match. Seems like Deonna
Some
Purrazzo is
jobber.
just gonna. Yeah, I think it's the same thing we were talking about with Peyton Royce, where if your significant other is in AEW, you're gonna pay the price. And Nia Jax squashed Deonna Purrazzo.
Who is Deonna Purrazzo with in real life?
Marty.
Oh, I thought they.
Oh, he's in Ring of Honor. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
He's not even in AEW.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. What's going on there?
You all right there, Tony?
Yeah, I just I unmuted my mic.
Yeah, I totally forgot that Marty didn't go to AEW. He's a Ring of Honor guy.
Well,
I think we may have lost Andy.
I
No,
can hear you guys.
Andy's there. I can hear him.
I can hear Andy.
I can't hear Andy at all.
Wow. Let me hang up and rejoin.
That's weird.
That's odd.
All right.
Yeah, I was hearing him perfectly. Where'd you guys leave off for Raw?
We just Humberto Carrillo defeated Brendan Vink.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
All
There
right.
you go. I hear him now.
That's weird.
Is there anything else in Raw that was significant that we want to cover?
Big Show.
Nia Jax came back. Well, yeah, the real main event of Raw. Or the real main event of WrestleMania, I should say. Apollo Crews coming in and having a really competitive match with Aleister Black. We covered the couple of squash matches with Seth Rollins and Nia Jax. And then the main event segment after WrestleMania goes off the air.
It didn't make
Drew
sense with this.
McIntyre accepts the impromptu. They have a Netflix show they need to plug.
Yeah.
That's where you make sense of this. And they wanted to make Drew look like a badass. He beats Brock and Big Show in quote-unquote one night.
Yeah. And they said it never happened before, but didn't it happen before another WrestleMania? Where a guy won his title and had to fight again?
Yeah, but then he
For
lost
sure.
it. Yokozuna and Hogan.
Yeah.
Yokozuna, yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to see Big Show ever again.
But it's JJ's dad.
Yeah. Just,
All right. Well, then NXT happened. Interesting show.
Very interesting show.
Yeah.
It was sort of, a lot of it was just takeover matches that they couldn't do, including the very beginning where you had a number one contenders ladder match with Io Shirai defeating Tegan Nox, Chelsea Green, Mia Yim, Candice LeRae, and Dakota Kai.
Io versus Charlotte. I'm looking forward to that.
Io versus
That'll be
Charlotte
good.
is going to be a blast. Does Io beat Charlotte?
2 years. No. I would say
No.
two of your best women's wrestlers there.
Now,
in the world, I would say.
Hear me out. Io, she's at a point in her time where they're like, hey, we want to entice you to stay and not leave your contract when it's up. Do they throw her a bone here, or do they they keep it where
You don't put the belt on Charlotte and have her drop it first thing.
Yeah. Because obviously they're building
if
back
you
up
have
to
anybody
Rhea.
but Rhea,
Yeah.
if you have anybody but Rhea beat Charlotte, you're just burying Rhea even more.
Yeah. I agree. I'm just kind of throwing another devil's advocate out there.
They had a long. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just moving forward. If you have something to say, go right ahead.
No, go ahead. You can move on.
The next thing was a long video package with the Finn Balor Walter feud, and then you also had a Killer Cross vignette, but they didn't name him. And then you had a tag match where in this share, I don't know if I'm saying that right, the Rinku and Sarav with Malcolm Bivens beat Everrise, Chase Parker, and Matt Martell.
Okay.
Which
And,
3.0 it's very good, but they're kind of on NXT. They're kind of lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did like that they used the demolition decapitation on them.
Yeah.
You had a Adam Cole promo, a Charlotte promo, and then the last pretty much half of the show was
Hold
another
on.
quote unquote
real quick.
cinematic.
Who's got their TV on in the background? That's very, very loud.
Not me.
Tyler?
That's probably Janae's phone in the background.
Oh, okay. I was like, whatever's going on back there is like super loud. Go ahead, Brian.
This is the third quote unquote cinematic match of the week for WWE: Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa.
Now,
The next deletion.
here's my thing. I enjoyed it. But if you're going to sit there and say Edge and Randy Orton was long, boy, was this long.
Yeah, so I didn't see this.
Believe it or not, I think the commercial breaks help with that, even though it made it longer.
Jesus, did it feel like it took forever?
See, I hated the commercial breaks. The commercial breaks to me killed off most of the match because every time it's like it's picking up steam and getting hot, they cut the commercial out of nowhere. I was like, what the?
And the commercial breaks, and it's like you missed a whole section of what actually happened. So they went they went from on top of a truck to off the truck when the commercial came back. Then they were in the ring. Then they were out of the ring when the commercial came back. I don't think it had the same oomph as it would have if they would have just played it on WrestleMania.
The best part about this by far, no commentary.
Really? Oh boy.
No
it
commentary.
was
No Morrow.
Yeah,
Because the first half of the show was Morrow by himself, and I listened to music and watched it. And I'm not joking.
I I can see Morrow by himself, and especially
in an
the
empty
silence
arena.
of of the empty arena that's silence in WWE.
And the
empty
first
arena,
thing out of his
that's
mouth
too
is a
much.
goddamn Tiger King reference.
Oh God! Which
Listen, watch the Tiger
I haven't
King.
watched.
Watch it.
I
Just
will
watch
not
it.
watch.
It's entertaining.
It's the let's watch this because it's popular, just like Bird Box. No, I'm not.
It's an insane story. It's a really insane story. Anyway,
if that's not a Murder My Dude episode in a month or so, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah, you're not.
We try to avoid the rip from the headlines things.
Actually, what was I just watching where I was like, this would be a great Murder My Dude thing? I forget what it was. I have to remember now.
Undertaker killing AJ.
AJ, Undertaker killing AJ.
This week's episode, that's a good one. Yeah. I know I joked that this was the topic this week. Now, this week we did have a wrestling tie-in. It was Foxcatcher. It was John DuPont and Dave Schultz. And like a week before the murder, or a week after the murder happened, Kurt Angle was supposed to come there to train for the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
Because the guy that died was like his main trainer, the guy that got murdered.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if
there's a
anyone
movie
ever
about
seen
that.
Yeah, Foxcatcher. That's a bring up. That movie's great.
Yeah. So that's your new episode on Murder My Dude. Go check that out. Yeah, so the match goes on. Obviously, Johnny Gargano beats Ciampa, but in a very weird fashion, if somebody wants to tell it.
Candice LeRae comes in, and they're both down. They're both beating the hell, and she's just pleading with them to stop it. She admits to Ciampa, "I hate my husband. Are you happy? Finish it." And Ciampa just doesn't want to go after Johnny anymore, so Candice says, "Fine, I'll finish it," and kicks Johnny right in the Jimmy.
And then Ciampa realizes, holy shit, our hatred for one another and our feud that's been going on so long, this is just what I pulled out of it, has ruined their marriage and ruined their family and ruined everything in this guy's life. And he gets a complete moment lapse where he's like, you know what, this was all not worth it. And he goes over to Gargano and he's saying he's sorry and he doesn't want to go anymore, and he's spent it. Kind of like, and I can kind of relate in like a fight sense where like you could hate somebody as much as you possibly can, but once you kind of fight or not just fight, but get it out of your system in some type of way, whether it be a basketball game or some type of physical altercation, maybe it's just a guy thing where you kind of just like, you see the best they have and you give them the best you have, and you kind of get that mutual respect for one another, and then it's over. That's kind of what you see here. And then Candice LeRae sneaks back in the ring and kicks Ciampa in the dick. And then Gargano pulls out a cup and pretty much says that we played you, and then he gets the pin. And that's the end. Now, I know in the group chat...
That's not the end.
In the group chat, you did you said a little teaser that something was going on in a car as they were leaving. I paused it 4 times. I couldn't see who it was. I was also watching it on my phone.
After the match, after everything happens, Gargano and Candice LeRae are walking out. And as they're walking out of the Performance Center and through the parking lot, they pass through this car, and the lights are on. And if you look very, very closely, it's Killer Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux in the car. And I have a feeling that next week they're going to get out of that car and beat the shit out of Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, because he has to be a heel, right? I see the picture,
totally.
and I would have never have made that out because it's so hard to see.
The blonde hair is what tipped me off, so I'm pretty sure it was them.
I thought
there's two important things, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's 2 important things. Number one, at the very beginning of the Ciampa and Johnny match, Candice is outside with Johnny, and you could tell like she's disgusted by him. And she gets out of the car, and she hands Johnny something. You can't tell what she hands him, and she gets in the car and drives away. That was the cup. She was handing Johnny the cup. So it was a nice callback to the very beginning of the match.
Yeah.
So that was perfect. And the second part that was great was that Johnny beat Ciampa with his own finisher move.
Yeah.
That was excellent. I loved it.
Yeah.
What the Angel's Wings, whatever he calls fairy tale ending.
Yeah, fairy tale ending is what they call it there.
It's like a modified pedigree, yeah. Yeah, so that's NXT. We are going a little long, so here, I'm gonna make it audible here because we are at just about the 2-hour mark.
Yeah,
158. I think we're gonna nix the topic this week. Just cover AEW and then
good call.
and then wrap it, and then next week we'll come back with your topic.
Yeah, next week we're going to be on a shortage of things to talk about, so it'll make more sense.
I agree. So AEW.
AEW opens with a very good promo by Roberts, who still has it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he does.
And then,
are you man? Or are you mouse?
Are you a mouse? Chirp up.
Yeah.
Or what? How do you say it? Squeak up.
Squeak. Yeah, squeak up.
You want to play 21?
Yeah, Jake Roberts is great.
And then Lance Archer wins the squash against Alan Angels.
Yeah, but let's talk about who's on.
Is that the reincarnated AJ Styles, Alan Angels?
Alan Angels. we got Tony Schiavone and Chris Jericho on commentary. It was phenomenal.
And
they were great.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, Jericho's great on commentary, and then together they were great. Like, there's some of the times when they would say something that everyone would be like, like when they started talking about Baker's boots and Kiss, and they all got into talking about Kiss then.
And he's trying to say trying to say educated feet, but couldn't figure out what he was trying to say.
Yeah. And then when he finally got it, he's like, yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah.
I love the one part where Jericho says, tope, or as we call it, house show dives.
Yeah.
Are you smitten by Britt Baker and Shivani? What?
I'm a big fan. I like her. That's one storyline. I'm like, where do they go with that? Did they make it like where Tony's her sugar daddy or something eventually? But I don't know.
Please God, hope so. It'd be hilarious.
Oh my God.
And Shivani, and just in general, they have brought a lot of personality to Britt Baker. She's been, I think, a lot more of an entertaining presence over the last 2 or 3, ever since the Jericho Cruise, really.
Yeah. Shivani has really helped her career out. And this, we'll just get right into this because that was the next match. Mm-hmm. The first squash match was what it was, and I mean, Lance Archer just beat up that guy. Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker. This was her best match ever.
I think this is one of the best women's matches AEW's put out so far.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, I was watching like this was really good because everyone was like, Britt sucks.
I was trying to watch it. I couldn't see where her nose got busted.
Somewhere in that exchange when they were doing the booyah spots.
Yeah.
And I think Britt maybe leaned forward a little bit, and that's where she got hit in the nose.
She was leaking.
But that added to it.
Yeah. And then I think they were trying to do a spot. I think they were trying to do a spot where she was going to do the teeth pull, and then she's telling the ref to give her a glove, and either ref's like, dude, I've been touching your blood, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. You're not doing this.
Yeah, but she wanted the glove because of the whole corona thing to stick her hand in her mouth. But still, it was like, well, why would you do that if you're wrestling? But anyway, it was a funny spot.
Yeah,
I don't think she smartened up the ref.
Yeah, I think she grabbed the glove, and then I think they realized, you could tell it was an audible, we were going to do this glove spot, but we also weren't expecting your nose to be gushing all over the place, so we should probably not do this.
And there's another spot, too, where she does something to Hikaru, and she's sitting on the ring apron, and then Britt's sitting there, and she just starts, talking to her, Mean Girl style.
Yeah. And
then she starts talking to the camera about, trying to talk to Tony.
Yeah, Shivani, tell them how good I am, or something like that.
And there's another part where she's getting hit, and she cries to the camera and says, Tony, come save her. It's like, so Britt's actually... she's showing way more personality. I think, when they in front of a crowd, she's gonna start getting.
I was not a fan of Britt Baker, but she's definitely winning me over.
Yeah,
and this isn't my creep spot. This isn't my Tyler creep spot of the match. But what's her name's underwear sticking out almost the entire match, a lace fishnet underwear? Because when they went to commercial and came back, it was tucked back into her gear.
Oh, you mean above? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
I didn't notice fishnets on under it, but yeah, you mean where
she had fishnet underwear on or something like that, this weird underwear, and it was the whole beginning it was hanging out, and I thought it was part of her ring gear, and then they cut to commercial, and someone said something to her, and then they came back, and it was tucked back into her tights.
I didn't even know that.
I watch weird things, I guess. I don't know. I guess I'm looking at butts too much. I don't know what's going on. So next match after Britt Baker.
Before the next match, we had a fun little backstage segment with Omega and Michael Nakazawa where they're trying to come up with a tag team name.
I thought this was really good.
And they come up with best friends.
And what's this hiding in the bathroom?
Orange Cassidy just walks out and then lets the real best friends in.
Yeah.
And basically, hey, they're like to Omega, hey, you're a VP of the company. You can make them change their name, and we can be best friends.
and then after they say, you know what, fine, forget it, we'll challenge you for the name, and they leave, and Orange Cassidy just walks back in the bathroom.
Back in the bathroom, that was great.
To spy on them again, and they don't even care.
and then they had a really good video package building up Jake Hager from Moxley, and I liked it because it felt like they were trying to play on people's perceptions of Brock Lesnar as not caring and all this stuff, but they put Jake Hager in those shoes.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really nice touch.
Did not know Jake Hager has a lisp.
What?
Are you serious?
I did not know. I never really watched Jake Hager
Jack
before.
Swagger?
Nope, I was not watching it.
Yeah, you were out at that point.
Yeah, when he came in, he had a real bad lisp.
Is that why Cody likes him? Cody's like, oh, let's get it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Well, hey, Cody came very, very far with his. But he should keep it because, his dad told him that his dad is. So why not keep it?
Yep.
And then the Best Friends beat Omega and Nakazawa in a really long match.
Yeah.
Yeah, which had an awful lot of comedy that they haven't done before in AEW. It was very DDT-like. If you ever watched the DDT,
yeah, it was
Japan.
It was a little too much for me.
That's what I thought.
I thought it was entertaining, but it was a little too much.
Yeah, a little too much. Michael Nakazawa is it feels a little bit too indie, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Especially pulling the underwear out and doing the demonic claw or whatever they called it.
Well, how about when he takes off Orange Cassidy's glasses and throws them in the crowd, and Orange Cassidy pulls out a backup pair.
Yeah.
Well, no, he tries to squirt the baby oil in his face, and he's wearing the sunglasses. So he grabs his sunglasses off and throws them. He turns around and he has a new pair on already.
Yeah. And then he does like a dive. Kenny. Yeah, that was a good spot.
Wouldn't that be a DQ? But let's not get into that. Next match.
Then they had, and this is still doing nothing for me, the Brody Lee videos where he's just playing Vince McMahon. Still does nothing for me.
I don't mind them. I don't hate them, but I don't really like them.
Just move on.
They don't do nothing for me neither. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Bryan. They don't do shit for me.
And then there was a more important promo after that, which was Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Kind of calling Sammy Guevara a false god and a false Latino.
And did you get the part where he said, "And I like Puerto Rican food"?
Yeah.
Because his wife is Puerto Rican. I was like, that's a good one. Like, he had a bunch of great lines here.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he challenges Jericho to the Elite Deletion, which I don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm definitely looking forward to that.
The next match proper was Brody Lee and another squash beating Lee Johnson.
Yeah. And apparently Brody Lee posted on Twitter afterwards saying now he gets to keep the name Lee because it was one of the stipulations they'd say.
Best friends and Brody Lee gets to keep Lee.
Yeah.
So,
Good for him. He won.
And then the final match, and it was a TNT title match, was Cody beating Shawn Spears.
I didn't mind it. Maybe a little bit too long.
Yeah.
I mean, Shawn Spears doesn't do that much for me.
I thought he
looked like all the weapons.
I thought he looked good though.
I don't know why I
so
felt this way, but I absolutely loved this match. I thought it was so damn good. I don't know why, but they had me biting on everything. With Spears kicking out 2 of the crossroads and shit. Mm-hmm. The table spot with Spears putting Cody through the table, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like the finish. I like somebody actually passing out in the figure 4.
That's the first time I've ever seen that. And Jericho said that too, and I believe him.
Yeah. Didn't that happen with Savage when he lost the title to Flair? Or was it like a drop the arm thing?
I think he got hit in the head with something though, didn't he?
Yeah, he was knocked out. I think he was knocked out first.
But I think Flair, and then Flair put him in the figure 4 and they pinned him. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of the same. But yeah,
not the same, but not the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it was a good match. Shawn Spears doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
Me neither.
So that wraps up for AEW?
Yeah, that was a good show. Entertaining show.
All right, I'm going to play our last commercial here, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about for our next topic next week and kind of give you a rundown. So give us one moment here.
Hey, this is Jackson Wells. You know me from Murder, My Dude, but you may not know that I have a new nostalgia podcast. Talking Back is my new podcast, where I'll talk about everything from bikes to trains to, well, you get it. We're going to be talking classic toys, cartoons, wrestling, games, and more. And it's not just me. I'll have a new guest on each week to reminisce about their childhood favorites. Make sure to visit ProjectHumanoid.com to figure out more about guests, the premiere date, and other information. And follow Talkin' Back Pod on Instagram as well. That's TalkinBackPod on Instagram.
So if you're listening, that was our last commercial. Jack from Murder My Dude is doing his own show called Talkin' Back, so look forward to that one. Now, Brian, what should we look forward to next week with our topic, and how long is it going to take up? Not how long, but it's going to be a 3-parter, right?
Yeah, it's looking like a 3-parter. This is instead of just covering one person, I'm covering one of the hot spots that produced a lot of wrestlers, and it's actually going to be a look at Robbinsdale High. This is around the time in Minnesota. And this is the time where people would be doing like spring break and prom if all the schools weren't closed. So let's go back to high school, and there are so many people that became huge parts of the wrestling business that all went to this one little high school in the suburbs of Minneapolis, and we're going to go through all of them over the next 3 weeks.
So it's kind of like where people left, kind of like the Dana Carvey show, where Dana Carvey left SNL and started this show, and this show spawned so many great talents.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. In wrestling, there's other places too. Like there's this bar in Minnesota called Grandma B's, and a lot of people started there. And then there was some of them went to Robbinsdale High, and there was West Texas State University. Their football team had like 6 or 7 guys that all became major pro wrestlers. So this is just one of the things.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it because it's something I know zero to nothing about. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Andy, I know you said you have some plugs about going on Pro Wrestling Tees. What's going on there?
There's a sale. I think I have the code right on Pro Wrestling Tees right now. You can get the blue and gold, both our shirts on there, and you type in the code Spring Fling, and you save 20%. So not just our stuff, but any merchandise. So you want to get an AEW shirt? You want to get that new Matt Hardy shirt or Brody Lee shirt?
I know. Tony Deppen has a new shirt out that looks pretty sharp too.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think he's on there. And everyone's on there now. So, yeah, Spring Fling will save you 20% on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Share that to the Facebook page as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to pull up the exact URL here. I believe it's ProWrestlingTees.com. We have to do like /wrestler. Just look up Team Blue and Gold on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yep. Team Blue and Gold on ProWrestlingTees.com. All right. Well, that I know we kind of plugged Murder My Dude already with the commercial. Tyler, do you have anything?
Not this week, guys.
All right, cool. That'll wrap it up for Tornado Tag Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Next week we will have a topic. We'll bring the topic back. Mania did run long. It ran 2 days, but we ran for 2 days almost, 2 hours. But that's just the way we do it. You know, we're trying to cover a week worth of wrestling, and this weekend was pretty. It was packed. But I'm very once again happy that we are back to a weekly show again, even though it is over the phone. So definitely check us out over on wherever you can find us on Spotify and Apple Music, or whatever the hell it's called now. But we'll see you guys. Apple Podcast. We'll see you guys next week. We'll talk about what happened this week in wrestling, if anything happens. Probably that Elite Delete thing, and then we'll cover the topic. So we'll see you guys next week. See you then.